Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to TraderTV.live. It is Wednesday, April 1st, brand new month, brand new quarter. Unfortunately, not a good look for North American stock futures. Everything back in negative territory in a big way, moving to the downside. All across the board, we're looking at big red numbers this morning. All three major U.S. indexes coming off historically bad quarterly performances in the first quarter. It's the worst quarter right across the board since 1987 and the worst first quarter performance ever for U.S. indexes, so pretty ugly. The declines today come after U.S. President Trump announced at the White House yesterday evening that U.S. citizens should prepare for a pretty rough next couple of weeks when it comes to the coronavirus. White House officials expecting between 100,000 and 240,000 deaths in the U.S. We have oil higher to start the session, along with some of the energy sector moving into positive territory after another down day yesterday. We saw crude back below $20 a barrel briefly yesterday. Some of the energy names catching a bit, along with some of the virus-related names. In fact, quite a few of them moving higher in the pre-market this morning. We'll get to a few of those. It is a crazy busy day. We have lots of guests coming up. Please stay tuned. It's going to be a great show, including Kevin O'Leary swinging by once again around 10:30 this morning. On the data front this morning, we had ADP and Moody's Analytics monthly private payrolls in the U.S. that was down about 27,000, or the equivalent of 125,000. They also revised last month's to the downside as well. We'll also get market manufacturing PMI and ISM numbers coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. It is going to be an exciting show. Let's get things kicked off. We'll say good morning to the guys, Neil and Sean. Guys, it's an exciting one. Obviously, back to the downside today.
Busy one as well. You know, I was doing some preparation to see Sean there as well. It's going to be a wild day. You mentioned it there. I got Kevin O'Leary coming on at 10:30. We also have Alex Bowles coming from Neo as well in a few minutes, I do believe. And look, we have Carlos from Bear Bull Traders, I believe, coming in at 11:20. So action-packed day, full of guests. It's going to be full of moves in the market. Certainly, it's been a while since we've had one of those, gap down days, more than 1% or 2%. So that volatility looks like it could be coming back in. We're live and ready to trade it. I just want to quickly jump into some of the numbers from yesterday. Tuesday was a solid day trading across the board. You're going to see 5 figures in all of the top markets. And this is just the top traders in each individual market at Day Trade the World here. Leading the way was the futures. CME there, 30,000 or just under that. Paris, 21,000. New York, you'll see 18,000. Someone pulled out. London, 16. Amex was 15. Canada, TSX there, 13,000. Nothing wrong with that. And then NASDAQ running out those 5 figures there at 10K. So once again, the numbers are pretty consistent in this volatile market, and it should be another good one today, Sean.
Yeah, for sure. Brendan touched about oil there. That's interesting. Today down another % or so here. Crazy here in Canada. Western Canadian Select $5 today. So hey, new camera angle. What's up? But yeah, no, look, it's going to be exciting right now. Big guest. You talked about Carlos coming from Bear Bull Traders, Kevin O'Leary coming to talk about MindMed and the current state of the coronavirus here in Canada and down south. So look, it's going to be a great day. At the start of a new quarter here, I'm a little bit hesitant to go long on anything. As we see right now, the S&P down 3.4%. Could be an exciting day here. To the downside is what I'm looking at, and I have a couple names all lined up for you guys.
Yeah, CEMI on your screen there, Sean. That's one moving around in the pre-market because of the coronavirus. Some news on that name. Unfortunately, was blocked for us. I hope we can get that unblocked so we can trade that one. But let's jump into some markets to get things started. Before we do that, we're going to head over to Valeria and say good morning to her as well.
Good morning. If you're passionate about trading and if you want to learn how, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for our channel, and if you're watching us from Facebook, like and share our video. Also guys, we're expecting a very exciting day, a lot of guests, including Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. So stay tuned and back to traders.
All right, thank you, Valeria. Let's now jump into some markets. We'll have a look at what happened overnight over in the APAC region. See how Asian markets fared. It was another session where we saw some decent numbers here to the downside. Obviously, Japan leading the way there, 4.5%. You can see Hong Kong and Shanghai also negative. Korea also back in negative territory, about 4% to the downside. So Australia, the only one putting in a positive performance there, about 2.5%, moving back to the upside. Let's shift over to Europe if we can and have a look at how things are shaping up so far. There we go. Yeah, big red numbers right across the board following North American futures back into negative territory. Look at Germany and France there leading the way, more than 4% each. England as well, 3.8% each. Let's have a look at North American stock futures here with about 25 minutes to go before we get underway. More of the same, yeah, 3+%. The NASDAQ faring a little better there. TSX futures 2.5% to the downside. Brazil's open already, trading more than 3% to the downside. Bitcoin negative today as well. Yeah, there's crude oil. It was positive when I sat down, but back into negative territory, 0.8% to the downside. Gold also about flat to start the session. Let's bring in our good friend Alex Bowles from the NEO Exchange. We'll have a chat with him and see how things are faring on this Wednesday morning and talk a little bit about the IPO market. But first, obviously, there's Alex. Hey, how are you this morning?
Doing very well, Brandon. How are you?
Good. Obviously, start of a new month, start of a new quarter. It's been an interesting first quarter of the year, to say the least. How are we looking heading into this Wednesday, first day of April over at NEO?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of take a similar tone to Sean there. Cautiously optimistic. Where volumes continue to increase, trade counts continue to increase. As we can see already, the market looks like it's getting ready for a crazy day today. S&P is already down about 3.5%. So we're going to be watching the markets very closely. We expect it to be a volatile start to Q2.
Alex, you sent over an interesting graphic yesterday. We'll have a look at that now. Just talking a little bit about the IPO landscape and some of the recent IPOs on the NEO Exchange. Talk us through these numbers here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is really just a testament to how successful MindMed's been able to do since they launched on NEO back on March 3rd on their IPO date. So what we're really showing here in this slide is we've taken some other corporates who have IPO'd their similar peer group. You can see here that we have ticker SHRM, which is Champion Brands, which is another psilocybin-based company, as well as RVV, which is Revive Therapeutics, which is another psilocybin-based company. And really, what we're showing here is just how successful MindMed has been able to do on their first month of trading. You can see here on their first day, they did about 4.2 million shares. 99% of that was done on the NEO Exchange, so minimal market fragmentation there. The remaining 13,000 shares were done on other markets. We also went through on the first day, we got them OTC access, so that gives them access to both U.S. investors as well as ones in Frankfurt and Berlin. So, huge uptake, huge interest in the community there for the psilocybin type products.
It's been an interesting bounce back for that entire space. MindMed in particular, a 2, 3, even 4-day move back to the upside after the entire market got hurt pretty bad. But this space in general in focus over the past couple of weeks. How has the volume kind of shifted towards some of these names that might not necessarily be looked at on a regular basis?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say if we had this discussion maybe 3 or 4 months ago, we'd say, very high focus in the cannabis type names. We've seen a little bit of a pullback from the cannabis names. There's still definitely some interest there, but we've seen a big shift into, other maybe alternative types of therapeutic medicine like psilocybin and MindMed has to offer. So, they continue to be one of our top 10 traded securities every day, averaging around 4.8 million shares a day. Yesterday, they did north of 6 million shares. We continue to see them around 2,000 trades, if not north on that on a daily basis. So it's definitely one to keep an eye out on the NEO listed side. When they initially IPO'd, I think they're around 40 cents, and now they're trading just shy of 80 cents. So obviously a great price evolution there, and a really good opportunity for your user base to really engage in and take advantage of the volatility of the market on that security.
Yeah, great stuff, Alex. Obviously, MMed, the ticker over on the NEO Exchange, guys. If you want to have a look at that one today, yeah, huge move to the upside again yesterday. MMED, a great ticker. Alex Bowles from the NEO Exchange. Appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brandon. Have a great day.
Great stuff. There we go, guys. Let's jump into some individual names here also moving around in the pre-market this morning. A lot of virus-related names to talk about, both higher and a few of them even moving to the downside today. We'll jump into the first one here, that CEMI. You saw Sean was looking at that right off the bat here this morning. Higher after a successful launch of the company's first COVID-19 test in the U.S. yesterday. More than 100,000 tests shipped yesterday alone. So there's been all kinds of talk over the past couple of weeks, guys, when it comes to the lack of testing and the lack of available tests, both in Canada and the U.S. Sean, I'll start with you on this one. CEMI, as I mentioned, it was blocked. I hope we can get that unblocked for us so we can trade it. What are you looking at with that one?
Yeah, Chem Bio Diagnostics. Yeah, thanks for the throw here. Yeah, up 30%. And look, I mean, more tests. We talked about that with Abbott Labs on Monday when they were introduced as 50,000 new tests being available, then 150 being shipped today. But here we go. CEMI, look, a big volume spike right here. This is over 60, 70,000 shares, done about $7, $6.90 or so. We dip all the way down to $6.20 in this pre-market before bouncing to $6.33, $6.63, sorry, right now. VWAP $6.75. Look, I mean, if you want to take out this top 740, then I think that's a reasonable idea there as well. But we're just in this little range. I'd like to see it break out one way or the other. I'm not going to trade this thing for 5, 10 cents, 20-cent winners. We want to trade this for a little bit more. So either we come back down here. Yesterday closed 522. But look, it's a big study. The thing is, this stock is not one of those fly-by-night stocks. You're going to see here, it has been down as low as $2, and now you're going to see $6. So that is a triple. But they've been up here before. The level to look at last time, 727. Kind of we topped off here at 736. So previous high back in September, 740. You close the daily chart to come to today's chart, and you see basically today's high, 740 as well. So that's something to play off of. Go short in front of 740 or wait until that does break. So I mean, I like that. I would rather play long than short in this name. Not sure what your ideas are on this one, Neil.
Yeah, I mean, I had 740 written down. 790 was the other level on the daily. You can see a bit of a couple of levels when you go on the daily at that 740 range. It's traded through that, and as Brendan mentioned, this one is going to be very, very. It's done 1 million shares here, but the liquidity in the pre-market isn't actually the biggest relative to some of these other names that we've been looking at. So this is not going to be one that I'm going to jump into in the pre-market, which sometimes we would do on a name like this, gapping up 30%. We're going to allow that opening range to be made. I think if you're jumping into the case for the long, there is at least an opportunity maybe to look at this 7 even area, maybe 7 even to 710 I was looking at. But if you take that, you're probably going to want to take some profit off in case it runs into resistance at 40s and 90s. And I don't know that 20 cents or 30 cents is going to cut it looking at the volatility. It's got a pre-market range of over $2 on what is now a $6.40 stock. So I don't know that I really love that break unless you think it's going to break through the high of the day.
All right, guys, a few other names in that space to have a look at today. Mallinckrodt, one a little bit more familiar maybe to a lot of people. Moving to the upside, they're teaming up with a company called Novo Terrace after receiving Health Canada approval for a pilot trial of high-dose nitric oxide that they want to try and use to treat COVID-19. So MNK moving to the upside. I mean, it is coming off already along with the overall market, I guess. But MNK, guys, my chart not pulling up here. I guess it's in New York, not in the NASDAQ. See if I can't load this one. There we go. So a little bit of a pullback. Still 16% though for MNK this morning.
Yeah, it's still 16%. It's worth noting it has bounced literally off of $1, just a few weeks ago, and so it's doubled up in price already from there. And then you did have a bit of a support level if you want to go back in the daily at that $2 mark, which we're holding above for the time being. We've done 2 million shares in volume. There's actually a buyer in the bid right now at 230. You're just going to look at the level 2 here, about 100,000 shares. I mean, that's not a gigantic amount, but it's interesting enough that we've bounced in the pre-market off that 2 that we mentioned. That's that double up in the last couple of weeks, and then now we're holding support at that 230 area. So I'm immediately going to watch to see if that one goes. That could be an interesting little retracement play through 230, and then maybe you can run that down to 2 even, catch 10% return right there if it can go through 230 at the open here.
Yeah, I'm going to try, yeah, exactly, 230, 245, nice little high here, 245. If you see that into yesterday was also a high a few days ago, 245. So we're going to look at 250 on MNK. If there's any symbols you guys want us to look at, type them in the chat here. We'll be here for you. Quickly here, we are going to get to this soon, but Blackberry, just want to look at the imbalance locator. I know a lot of you guys are interested in that. We get some nice comments from you guys.
Down.
Blackberry down. Bank of America is another name that we trade quite often on the show. There's Oxy, there's my favorite bank to short, WFC, and Carnival Cruise, which was an amazing trade yesterday off a couple different halts. Halted Monday and then halted again yesterday. So Carnival Cruise Line is always something to look at there. But this is just a quick little list here of some of the movers that we expect to have at the open.
All right, guys, let's shift over to, I want to get to Home Depot here, but worth mentioning, I think, Supercom Limited, name we were looking at a couple of days ago, also on the move in the pre-market as far as virus-related names. They announced back on Monday, I believe it was, that they had some human tracking technology that they launched in the U.S. when it comes to people with COVID-19 being quarantined. They've now launched the same technology here in Canada. So SPCB back to the upside in the pre-market once again. Home Depot, though, a little bit of a mover in the pre-market as well. They announced they'll institute new safety measures in response to this outbreak, including earlier store closures and limiting the number of customers being allowed into stores. I feel like this is a little bit of old news, though. I was at Home Depot a couple of weeks ago, and they were already only allowing I believe it was 10 customers in the store at a time. Could be even less now, guys. But HD here in New York down to start the day, about 4% already.
Yeah, and a tight range in the pre-market too. I mean, I was looking at this one, just sort of going to that little higher time frame that we like to do sometimes. You go to the daily chart and you can see it's got this like 200 top that have rejected, sort of coinciding with the the S&P topping out that 2,600, 2,300, but coming off 10%, which is a little bit more than what the market came off of those same types of numbers. And this 180 to 181 range at the bottom here, that looks like a bit of a breakdown point on any kind of a rally. I think you really got to watch out for 185 on the way back up. I think that's seemingly unlikely today, so you're probably looking at sustaining a price below 180 to 181, and that's a good place to work a short off of on a Home Depot. It's down 4%. One name, I just want to jump into something I know some people have been asking in the chat about SGBX, and if you were following along watching in the afternoon, this was another one of these high flyers which had a gigantic move yesterday. It was a $2 stock all the way up to 13. It just kept on going and going and going all afternoon long. There was just no offer. Big gap down, however, on today, basically 50% from the top, and then holding at that same range. We were actually looking for some locates in this one, see if we can't get those, but I was watching to see if we can hold that top in the pre-market 830. I love these when they come the way back in. They can be fantastic shorting opportunities. You just got to be careful because this one could not, there was no offer. It couldn't bust through yesterday all afternoon long. So let's watch this 830. If it holds lower, there should be some shorting opportunities as long as we get those locates.
Yeah, $5 on SGBX there. It's bounced off, and this is what I'm looking at with this stock. You can see here yesterday, about 1, 2 o'clock, it was hovering $5, $6, bouncing around, and then right now you sort of get that same little feeling. We bounce off of $5 flat to the downside, so I think that breaks. Like here's 450, and that came all the way from 350. So $5 break, we probably get down to 4, and then we can relook at it. I mean, it's going to be a great long if you can get it at 325. Have a look down there, but for right now, SGBX, 1.13 million shares. I'd look for it to take out this 760, 780 area today, and if you want to go long, take a shot, but it's going to be a volatile one.
All right, guys, can we actually jump into my screen here? There is a little bit of news on SGBX today as well, guys. There's a share offering, 425 here, 440,000 shares at 425. For SGBX, so that could be the reason we are seeing a little bit of a pullback on that one today. But yeah, lots of volume, lots of movement on that name over the past couple of sessions. British American Tobacco, BTI, obviously traded over in the UK as well, but the cigarette maker's US biotech unit, Kentucky Bioprocessing, is said to be developing a COVID-19 vaccine as well, derived from, guys, tobacco plants. So an interesting look for BTI moving to the upside here, even with the market down so much.
Yeah, it is moving to the upside. You know, the first reason why I'm usually pretty hesitant to trade these. We can trade over in London. I like to trade on the primary market, and that's probably where you'd want to express that trade if possible. And if you can't, we've broken through sort of what was the support level going back to October through 33.50 or so, and we're up a couple of dollars from there. So on any kind of a dip, pullback, whatever it might be, watch out for that level. You could find support at that 33.65-ish area. So if it gets a couple of dollars to the downside, that could be worth a look. Once things close over in Europe, so past 11:30, volume's going to really die down on something like this, but it still could be worth a trade. You just might have to scale down a little bit. I'm really only looking at that one level on a pullback. Otherwise, I'm unlikely to be trading in BTI.
I want to talk about Royal Caribbean a little bit here. We did get those questions as well in the chat. Look, Royal Caribbean, CCL, we already talked about that a little bit. And Royal today, I prefer trading CCL, but this is a $31 stock. It's not too bad. It does have quite a big spread. Sometimes I don't like to take positions now in the pre-market as right now the future's coming down again, down 3.7%. But look at this. We are right near this little bottom here, 31.25, and that's exactly the level that I like to play off. Quarters, dollars, things like that. So 31.25 right here on RCL. And if we zoom in a little bit more to today, that's exactly where we're bumping off right now, 31.20, 31.25. So we'll see where this one opens up. But I do like a long through this. If you want, I mean, and you're interested in the short, 30.80 is also coming into play with this current market. We're only down on RCL here, as you guys can 3.33%. So this has a ways to fall if it wants to. 30.80 to the downside and 31.25 to the upside. The problem is there's so much to look at today. I haven't even talked about Uber yet or anything like that. So, you know, try to get specific on some of your trades. Focus on a few names early, and then we'll come back to some of these as we go. But RCL, I don't want to miss this one, and I do like a 30.80 break south side.
Yeah, a group that's been obviously in focus over the past number of weeks now. The travel group not as active in the pre-market this morning as the past couple of days, but obviously worth keeping an eye on the airlines as well as the cruise lines today. Let's have a look at Macy's here, guys. They announced this morning Macy's is going to come off the S&P 500 and be added to the S&P Small Cap 600 as of April 6th to be replaced by Carrier Global, which is that UTX spin-off. So negative look here. Obviously, we've been pounding the pavement, or Sean has at least, with the retailers to the downside here. More negativity, Sean, for Macy's, down about 6% today.
Yeah, more negativity, and no surprise on this one. One of the lowest market caps right now in the S&P 500. Unfortunately, the fall from graces has been well detailed here on the show, and well detailed, I think, in the public sector as well. Macy's obviously going to have some downside effects. They're a brick and mortar company. We talk about not having a huge online presence, and yeah, Macy's going to suffer from there. They have tons of employees, a lot of retail space, and yeah, the way we're moving right now, down 5%, 800,000 shares. So the volume's not huge, but look, a 450 break and see you later, alligator, on this one, because you could see some pretty big downside moves. Look at this. This is a daily chart, guys. This is February 21st. So we're like 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks out from this being a $16, $17 stock. You could go back to January where it's $18. Today you're going to break 450 to the downside. So anybody that hasn't liquidated their positions will most likely be doing it today, if not already. But as I said, if they haven't, then I like a 450 break. I'm going to be all over that.
Yeah, a couple of sessions ago, this was our best trade of the day, and I just want to show you, if you look 2 sessions ago, you'll see when it was a 550 break, and then you can see this break here at 530 or so, and it was basically the same thing. There was a little bit of consolidation in the pre-market. You didn't have quite as much movement on the gap down. Yesterday, you essentially were just, you know, slow movement, but look at this consolidation that we're again seeing. So this is basically the same pattern as a couple of sessions ago, giving you that 450 break, and you know, we only caught it one of the 2 times before. This time we'll manage to get it. It's always worth keeping in mind when you get these level breaks in this market to the downside, it can be a little more tricky to get shares. Sometimes you got to cross a little more aggressively with your sell order than you're accustomed to, or maybe you know, be really quick to jump back in on a quick retrace when liquidity dries up. You got to find creative ways to access that liquidity when a big level like this is going to break.
All right, guys, I want to talk about the FANG group here a little bit, Apple specifically, but over the past couple of days, we've seen, the tech sector overall kind of leading the market back to the upside. Noticed right when I sat down this morning, the FANG group down anywhere from 1 to kind of 3.5% as a group. Apple was down about 2%. We'll look at it in a second here, but they announced, or there was rumors flying around yesterday that their budget version of the iPhone 9, the 9 SE, could be launched as soon as April 9th, they were saying yesterday. Not really, moving the stock this morning, the whole market down here. Guys, what do we think of Apple here? Down 3% now. Looks like we're kind of pushing on the lows as well.
We're just below that 247 mark. If you pull out the week, you can look at the last couple of sessions, not yesterday, but if you want to have a quick look, 2 days ago and then back on Friday, 247 was the bottom in the afternoon Friday, and then it was the bottom right in the morning. We're just leveling off at that price. The 200 is at 251. So if we sell off, this is going to be the turnaround point right here at that 247. If you get a dip off of the open, and then we get any kind of a snap back, I will probably try to take a short in front of that 247 price if we get one of those opportunities. That looks like it could be a spot on Apple.
Yeah, 247 would be great. I don't know if we're even going to get that chance. We're right there now. We're at 246.80. So you want 247, might as well just take it now. But I don't know, guys. I don't have a good feeling about the market today, like we've said this. So I'm looking at this 245.50 break. I think it could break that in the first 5 seconds of the day. We'll see if this market's down. It can easily market itself down $1 here. So look for this 245.50 to break. I think if you like the short, you should just get in right now. This is not a horrible spot. You can give yourselves $2 worth of space, which is nothing on Apple. You got to be able to hold something at least $2 against you on this stock. So if you like the short, take it now. But if you're really waiting to have confirmation, you got to wait for 245.50. And I do like that one. I like this short. I also like, obviously, we talked about Microsoft a lot, and I'll be hitting that one today, obviously, as Microsoft will be another short play here. I wrote down 154 to the upside. That's obvious if you like that. That's been the high of the day so far. But here you go, 152.15 out of the short side. So let's let these things settle down, Brendan. We've had a few rough experiences getting in on the pre-market on some of these. So let's let them print for the first couple seconds here, see where we're going, and then attack.
Yeah, going to be an interesting start, obviously, to the session, guys. One more to throw at you here. Another one in the vaccine space. AYTU up this morning, 12%, breaking to the downside as we speak, though. AYTU Biosciences. This is another one that came out with a test for COVID-19. Shipped a whole bunch of them yesterday. So a nice little pop here, back to 175. Just be aware, 175 to 180, bit of a level if you go back to yesterday morning. Above that, you're talking above $2. So be careful if you're looking to short AYTU. Guys, another one moving in the pre-market.
I just got into RCL, so right now we are short. So we practice as we preach here. I talked about getting RCL here short through 30.82. This could be a problem. We're going to see it just ticks down there. So right now we are short 30.82, exactly the price we said. You can check our trades at the bottom. There's only 2.5 minutes now until open, so I'm a little nervous. We're already 10 pennies in the money, but RCL right now to the short side 30.82. Now 12 pennies in the money and still coming down, but that's my one position right now, RCL. So let's go and hit a little arrow down action for Royal Caribbean today. We'll see what we can do on this one. As an out, I'm just probably going to use 31.82, something like that. This high, $32. Hold this one about $1 against us if we can, but we are right now in the money. As it's still going down, wow, it's printing 30.50. Quick 30 penny winner. I may take out a third right now, guys. Nothing wrong with taking 30 pennies in about 30 seconds. Let's go.
Quick look, CCL, that's the other name. We usually trade a little bit more. Tight range here, 12.55 to 12.85, so 30-cent range. I like the 12.85 as an area to be short in front of. We're going to have a quick look at that. You mentioned in the chat, guys, Blackberry down 19%. It got a downgrade after earnings here, looking to bust through that 330 mark at the bottom. This is not the actual low, so you got room till it's low at 270 for that for some room. It's at least 15%, so watch that break as well. Not quite as liquid as some of the other names we're looking at, but watch out for that 330 break on Blackberry. I do believe we have, in just a minute or so, the bell's going to be rung. Dimitri is going to be on that bell. The futures are on their pre-market low. Sorry, Vitali is going to be on the bell from IT, so we'll be all over that as well. So 330 break on Blackberry. Macy's, watch out for that 450 mark, which we're looking at. TCL Carnival, I like it at 1285. We did not talk about the airlines specifically. So I want to quickly jump to American Airlines. Looking at this 1150 mark, the problem with this one is I really like it from 12 to 1210 as a resistance area. But either way, we'll probably dip into this one at 1150, pretty much right at the open. And side note, I might be looking to buy Tiffany if you get any kind of a flush to 125 today. So watch out for that. I think there'd be a nice bounce. A couple of bucks away from it right now with about 30 seconds to go.
Guys, RCL went down 80 cents in the money. So it printed $30 even. You can see that. We're sitting on the bid right now. Nice little winner already. Hit the slap shot early. We'll see. We're not out of it, so this could blow up. But right now, it's looking like a 60, 70 penny winner off the open. But we will wait to see that. Only 10 seconds to go. So say what's up to Vitali. Working hard coming in today. Stay safe, Vitali. I hope you and your family are well. And we now have 3, 2, 1. Let's go Royal Caribbean and see what happens.
Wow.
Right now off the open. Thank you, Vitali. There it is, a quick little winner. So hit the cowbell to start the day as Royal Caribbean crashing down below $30. Let's go. An instant dollar plus winner here on RCL. This is how we do it on the show, guys. Let's go.
Quick move there.
Woo!
CCL, same thing through that 1240 mark. You're going to see it head to the southbound as well. Quick look also at Blackberry, which is holding 330 for the time being. Our stop is locked and loaded. It's ready to go. We're going to get that action if we get that little break. And don't forget about Macy's. This is one that we're definitely tracking. It just dipped down 10 pennies. It tried to recover to 470, now fading back into 460. This is one I think you can also take in front of that pre-market high. So if we see 470 again, we're going to be jumping into Macy's, maybe even building a position here in front of that. So Macy's trying to take 460 on the way to that 450 mark that we love.
Yeah, we're already pretty huge here on RCL, so that's gone nicely down in the money. We've already cashed out there 60, 70, 80 cent winners on that front. So congratulations, anybody following me on that trade. There you go, another big winner. Okay, Apple to the top side now. You see the futures are moving upside. So of course, Apple makes this move, and this is what we're talking about. Goes to 247.50. Now you crack back down to 246. So right now you got to watch out for these stocks here. With only a minute in, they're moving multiple dollars here. Apple high 247.50, low 245.50. So let's see if that can take it out. 245.50 is going to be my low spot here on Apple. If we can hit that, I'll be I'll be taking the short as RCL, guys, still 80 pennies in the money. Let's go.
Yeah, quick look. We just got into CCL at 39, but also Macy's triggered in at 461 on the way to 450. That's an add at 450, guys. And I'm watching Apple here. You want to see that test that pivot area. The top in the pre-market was 248.64. The futures are not really going anywhere right now, so we're going to run with our Macy's because we got that one to the short side, fading into the key level. We talked about how tricky it can be on these names when you're breaking through those lows, so we want to make sure we have some exposure in case we miss that 450 break, which I'm not sure we will. We'll try to be aggressive on that one. So just Carnival and Macy's to the south side for me right now.
Yeah, I've got a super aggressive order on Macy's as well, so hopefully that'll come through, coming down to 450. I definitely like that one. So good look there. Right now, the only one I have on is RCL. Nothing else really triggering. It hasn't been a crazy day at all, but here goes RCL, still below, I was going to say, still below 30, but look at the spread, guys. It's about, it can get about 15, 20 pennies going. So we still are short $30.80 right now on RCL, looking for some more downward moves. Look at this price, $29.61 was my best out. So we're layered on the bid again. See if we can't get some more out. What's up,
Sean?
Brandon?
I'm not sure what you saw in the bid there at RCL, but I just saw a massive bid at 12 even on Carnival there. So I'm going to dip out of my shares there, and then when that 12 breaks, we'll try to get back in. Brendan, what do you got for us?
Guys, a big mover from yesterday, VVUS. We saw this huge run up yesterday. If we can jump into my chart here, guys, huge run up yesterday. We're back to the downside today. They announced a share offering pre-market here. You can see a big flush out from 280 down to 180 in the pre-market after that offering, guys.
VVUS,
that was definitely a big mover. I want to tell you, Macy's is approaching that 450. We got 461 to the short side. Rewind the tape. We love that 450 break. We're going to be all over it, but we wanted to fade this one on the way down. You give up about 10 cents. We're trying to catch a falling sword, but here we go towards the 450 mark. This is a place I think to add. We might take a little shares off there, maybe 20% or so at the most, just to get that 10-cent move, and then see if we can catch more if it bounces. But if it flushes through, we're aggressively trying trying to get that break. I don't see a tremendous amount of shares on this bid corresponding with this key level, so that could help us out there to get through it really quickly.
154.35. At least we gave you guys Microsoft. I didn't hit it there because I was too busy with RCL, but at least we gave you guys the 154 level. Good on you if you did have that one. Microsoft to the top side again. Futures making a little bit of a move up, so that's why Microsoft popping up here to 155 and change. Now fading back in just a little bit. I don't really have any key spots here. I was going to say if you do not, if you come down and we break 154, you could try it to the south side, but I'm not really too much in love with anything right now. The CEMI here, I believe it's still going to be blocked on our system, but I did want to check in with you guys. Still up 35% today, not halted, and moving around just around the $7 mark. The price we liked was $7.40, so we can see if that does break, we'll be into that one. RCL, we've gotten all of them out pretty much. We have 30% left. You can see 1, 2, 3. There's 7 outs there, so we'll see what happens now as this one did get as high as 38.
CCL there, Sean, is approaching that bid again at 12 even, so I don't wonder if that's going to hold up RCL as well. I just want to go back to this SGBX. It is holding lower than that 7 even mark, so would be a good short in front of it. We're just going to keep checking on those locates if we get them. If we don't, our only play is going to be a long, and I think it's going to be a breakout at that 7. As I mentioned, you got to feel like it's going to 790, not that 740 mark, so watch out for that 740, which is also a key price. But here comes Carnival at 12 even. Here comes Macy's, my only position on short Macy's 461. That's right at 455. It's bounced once off 450, that level we like. Brendan, what do you got?
Another one, guys, moving in the pre-market and off the open here on COVID-19 news. IFRX still up 65%, but coming in here, got rejected at 7 there right at the open. We're already back to 620. IFRX developing a COVID-19 vaccine as well, guys.
And another one moving to the upside. Once again, Greg, you're the man with this call. Every day tops in this this bloody 25 area break or whatever you want to call it, this penny stock. Another time it gives you 10% right off of the open. I did much better with this usually on the pullback, so we'll see how this one runs. Watch out for 28. That was a decent break point yesterday, but my eyes are glued over on my screen to CCL and that 12 even level that I just got out in front of. There's the break. Can't even get shares on that brittle break. We tried to be aggressive there. I don't know what kind of price we're going to have to pay. Just got a few at 90, believe it or not. I had to cross 10 pennies down on that one just to get any kind of liquidity, and immediately it's continuing to flush. So that was a big level, that 12. We talked about the big buyer that was there. We got out in front of it, our initial short. Now we get back in short again. I'm probably going to scalp out of this one and then just keep playing the tremendous amount of liquidity that we have in this name. So I'm loving Carnival. Easy to dip in and out for quarters here, 25 cents at a time on an $11 name. Lots of ways you can play it. You could be holding this one. You can be reloading on pops, which is what I plan to do.
Yeah, and you can see Uber now coming down as well to the downside to 26 even. Good trade on CCL. We still have RCL. RCL now $1 plus in the money. Uber right now coming to the downside here, looking like it wants to break through 26. So we'll catch that Uber on the way through 26. Hey, I'm over here. You can pick me up. We'll wait to see here if that does come down. Uber should have shorted from the top of the day. But look at the futures though. The futures making a move up here. So it's very, very surprising that Uber's all the way back down. We just took a long right now in Disney going long on this name. This could be a problem, but we're going to wait to see here. Long Disney, 94.47 here, a couple hundred shares. Let's see what Disney can do here on this nice little futures move upside. Was not expecting that, but here we go. Race to 2,500. Let's go Disney.
A name that has been strong, but not the last few sessions. Zoom down 2.5%. On this little bump up, Zoom is not really moving too much. It tried to bounce off 140, came back, but could not get anywhere near its open price here at 144.50. So Zoom looks like it could be a fade today. If we hold below that 2,500, you got to love this one. I'm loving this one in front of 145 even. We're going to try this little short here in Zoom around 143 if we can get it. Brendan, what do you got for us, buddy?
Earnings name, guys, moving higher. Safety group here, SFET, 84% to the upside. Took out this high from yesterday right off the open. 246, ran all the way up to about 380 there. SFET reporting a smaller quarterly loss than expected, guys.
And we hit the siren and we rein in the money here because there goes Disney. Nice little trade there, taking 94.40s, getting out now in the 70s and the 80s, trying to hold the rest to go to the upside right now on Disney. So like I said, you take this shot here, Disney down still 2%, but we are long right now, 94.50. So we hit the slap shot on this one. It's not huge in the money, it's 30 cents, but we've taken out half already. So let's see if we can't get to the more upside here on Disney. If I presume this down back, we were up up as high as $98 yesterday. Do I think we get there? No. Here goes a breakthrough 95. So ring the registers, guys. Cowbell time. Nice little win to start with Disney here, as well as RCL. 2 for 2, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, we told you all about catching some reloads and a bit of a bounce back there in CCL, Carnival Cruise Lines. We'll keep trading both these names back in through 12. So again, lots of approaches you can make to this one. Catching the reload, scalping some out, just getting involved with this liquidity here. It's done 10 million shares already. Zoom just missed me, unfortunately. It looks like that 143 mark. We barely tipped on it, so still just with 2 short positions. We'll update the board just so you can see what we're working with here. We just dipped back in at 11.99, and that's going to be in Carnival. Macy's, we're short here at 461 half or so. It's going to show 62. You can round up all you want there. I like that one in front of 72. And looking for that 450 break where we are looking to add to our short position. You can take some off in front for a 10-cent scalp, but you want to be basically adding at that key level break.
Yeah, and here goes, again, I only have RCL and Disney right now is a big one, so a nice little win for us right here. We'll show you guys what we have. Well, we don't need to show you. Well, actually, we'll show you guys what's on board right now. I'll go to this camera right here, Rob. Both of these trades 70 cents in the money as we speak. Where is it? Here it's coming. Here it comes. Here it comes. Hey, guys, how's it going? Okay, so Disney right now, long, 94.48. You see that one. As I check back, 40 cents in the money. RCL still 40 cents in the money. One long, one short. Let's go.
Yeah, and of course, SGBX halts to the downside. This is one that we talked about, the short that we absolutely loved. We can only play the long here, unfortunately, so you're looking for that 7 break. As it's going to halt, all you can look for is a reopen higher, maybe testing some of those highs and get that juice to maybe get you to bust through the upside there. We're only looking long, unfortunately. I do like a 5. We like the 6 break on this one, but 5 would be the next level. If you have locates, have a look at that name. We're going to go over to an Oxy, news Brendan just put in there, Whiting filing for Chapter 11, but Oxy under pressure as well. And it just dipped below 11 off of the open, trying to rebound. It looks like a nice little short for me, using that 11 on a push back to the upside. This is the trade we did a couple of sessions ago, which worked well for us. Watch it hold this top end of the range after the flush. Once it does that, you have a base to work off of. That's going to be 11 even. So we're going to start this short here in Occidental at 1082. We'll work into this one in the 80s and 90s. Just watch out for the reversal through 11 even.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing here with Uber, start working into something a little bit. If we can get some shorts, just try to get some short 27s there. There we go, now we are short. So we're short now Uber. 26.27, going to use 26.50 as our kill spot on this one. We are starting to short on Uber. So we still got this long on Disney here, 95.20 we're at right now. We're long 94.40. RCL we're short, 30.78. That's 40 cents or so in the money. But right now our newest position is an Uber short. So we're going to play it off 26.50 as it's ripping there. We'll take some more short in the 40, average into this position. We've got Disney long, so if this market wants to go up, we'll make enough money on that, but we are going to average in to our Uber, hoping and thinking that we can retest $26.
Yeah, these futures right now, I mean, not a heck of a lot of movement. You're sort of seeing us here on the NQ just above that 7,600 mark, trying to take it back down. So that slides me back over to Apple in that 247. You allow the opening range to get made. You have that pivot area. Now that you're holding above it, you've got a top at 248, say 65 to 70 or so. If it retakes 47, that gives you an entry point and it also gives you a stop. So little structure to that trade, but we're bouncing here in the future, so that might not come to fruition. Brendan, what do you have for us?
Did post that in the chat there. Whiting, guys, filing for Chapter 11. Wasn't expecting this to reopen today, but it has. So WLL trading once again, even with that bankruptcy filing today, guys.
Attaboy, Whiting. Attaboy.
Good look, Brendan. All over the news. Whiting, of course, this is this is going to be a penny stock here, so just watch out. Of course, the volume's actually pretty solid here at 3 million on the reopen. We're going to track it. Obviously, it's going to be fresh lows, not a lot to see, and liquidity, not too much just yet. I'll watch for maybe 42 cents on the bottom anytime it takes out a low. That could be interesting to watch, but it's going to be short, sale, restricted. That means you're going to have to wait for an uptick, a green tick, something off the offer. Going to not be able to sell that bid aggressively, which you're going to want to do. So you got to be a little bit nimble in terms of getting into that short.
Oh man, I have to get out of this. I made a keystroke error and got out of our Uber short, so we're going to retake that one. So I still like the Uber short, but we got out of it. So that's our one right now. Disney, guys, boom! You want to talk about some money? Here it is, exploded right there. A nice dollar plus as we're going up. Look at this out, 95.75 right there. Guess where we're long, guys? 94.48. So if you like that, you've been following me today. You've had dollar winners on RCL. Here's another dollar winner on Disney. So we go 2 for 2 on that. We will revisit our Uber, but I just want to talk to you guys about that one because hopefully you have that Disney with us. We love this stock to the long side today off that break. I mean, I was not thinking long at all today, but we do have this one ripping up now. We took out most of our RCL, our last out down here, 30.36. We now have 10% of that left, so we're ho-humming that one. But let's head back to Uber and try to get this short again, looking off this 26.50, guys.
Yeah, another level here on Blackberry, 360 is worth noting. So we're bouncing off that 330 in Blackberry, very similar to what we're seeing over here in Macy's as well. Macy's is in the money, but we might initiate this position in Blackberry. You can use that pre-market top at 70, so 60 to 70 is your base. Until we break through 2,500, I'm not necessarily going to get rid of a lot of the short biases, but it's got to be in those weak names, the ones that we liked short side in the pre-market. Brendan, what do you got?
Another one moving, guys. Amarin, we saw a big move down yesterday, bouncing a little bit here today. We're up about 4.25% here on AMRN. They had that unfavorable ruling about one of their drugs in Nevada, I believe it was, when it comes to the possibility of a generic being introduced. So AMRN catching a bid, guys.
Amarin, yeah, that was yesterday's news.
Amarin, definitely a good one.
Unfortunately, it didn't break $4 until the afternoon there. Okay, back to 420. That's a nice little move. Wow, yeah, nice move on Amarin. Where was this yesterday when I was long Amarin? But we'll see here. It did fade yesterday. This is what we're talking about, guys. If you look, I got to zoom back out. Zoom. Here it is. Nice little move to 423. Never got going back above there yesterday. And then here's the breakdown below 4, and it just kind of hovered there all day. So right now, Amarin back to 420. I like it, especially if we could break it back above this 425.
Yeah, did you say Zoom? I heard the word Zoom, and Zoom just bounced off of 139, still down 3.7%, but the market looking like it's having some trouble, like I said, getting to that 2,500 on the ES, so watch out for Zoom. It was a good pullback trade at 43. We're going to have to try it at 42 if we want to be short in this one. It's been so weak off the open here. It's been a stronger play that's pulling back in with this little market retrace, so if we're going to get it, it's going to have to be right here. See if we can slip some shares in around the 140.50 mark. We do have 4 shorts on right now as this market continues to try to roll over, just poising ourselves here. We reloaded in Carnival, but just missed about a 12.30 price there once again. Oh no, we did get some. There we go. We did get some shares at 12.20, so not too bad. We're back to that 12 even mark, so we got a short here at 12.10 half, not too bad. Woo! We'll look to see if we can't get back to the bottom as the market coming back to the downside. All 4 shorts in the money. Blackberry, Carnival, Macy's, and Octi actually is just barely in the money right now. But here goes again a second leg on Carnival Cruise. I've decided to, every time we punch through this level of 12, I'll take a few shares off. We're in the money again. It's now down to 11.80. Here comes that 11.70 bottom. I've been scalping this. You can also hold the trade. It's the same net effect as long as you try to be active enough. But these have been fantastic, both Carnival and RCL. Here's the retest of 11.70. If we bounce off that, I'm probably going to wait till 12.50 on the next retrace. Carnival, it's been my number 1 stock today, despite thinking that Macy's was going to be the real one. It's actually been Carnival.
Guys, we are just huge on everything here again today. Here goes Uber, guys. This is another 25-cent winner, so explode the money. We've been averaging in all the way. We talked about 26.50, absorbing that, and boom, there it goes. So as the market is red today, we see what's happening right now with Uber down into the 20s. We are short 42. We are short RCL. Obviously, that's a huge trade right now as well. Still got 10% of that on. Disney still 80 cents in the money. Disney holding up quite well. Amarin, we take that break. Come on, keyboard. We take that break of 425. So right now we're long 426 here, a decent amount of shares. So this one could be a decision maker for me. But Amarin right now resisting that 425, but we are long here, 426. We already got some out here, 428, but we're going to wait to see here if we, 427, sorry. We'll see if that can bust through this 425. But everything's pretty huge right now, guys. RCL, Disney, and Uber all rocking and rolling.
We outlined that plan over there in Apple, of course, and you did see that 247 break. It made that top, so we can now work with that top base, 248.75 or so since the open. We grabbed the short here when it broke 247, managed to get 89s there, so slipped not too badly when you talk about an Apple. They get that pre-market low that we'll like to take some shares out in front of. Otherwise, we're now playing this one to the short side as well. I did want to jump back into Zoom. I mentioned that we tried to add this short to our repertoire here. Unfortunately, again, this is the second time this has happened. Trying to chase it on the way down. The spread is opening up. Every point where it seems like it's a good entry. It goes from a 10, 20 cent spread to like 30, and we can't get any shares. So Zoom, we'll go ahead and cancel those. We do have good exposure to the short side right now. If the market wants to flush, I want to jump over to Blackberry, which is our last ad. We did like that one through 330. However, once it started to test this little pre-market top here at 360, we figured we'd work into it. It's a relatively tight stop here. You're only risking a few pennies to see if you can't retest the low and give yourself 5 to 8% profit.
Yeah, I hate having losers on here, guys, but right now Amaran is a 2-cent loser, and that's apparently what we have. So RCL, wow, see ya, this is now $1 in the money, so we hit the slap shots for that. Uber still, man, what a great trade that was. Short, short, short. All the shorts coming in now. If you see purple arrows down ticking, of course, that is a short sell, and all these blues are buys. Red is an actual sell. We talked about making that mistake, but here we go. Uber to the downside. What's up, Brandon?
Guys, another little one moving here. QUMU 6% still. Man, I wish I saw this earlier. Nice little tight consolidation into the open and then just flushed all the way down to 170 here. QUMU on the NASDAQ. They have a similar product to Zoom, another video conferencing type of product or software suite, getting a lot of attention because of the quarantine, guys.
Good look on that one. I'm going to floss it off. We just took some shares out again on Oxy. It's a bust through 1070. We had that 1081 short. I would watch out that QUMU. If I'm not mistaken, Brendan, I'm pretty sure they are the subject of an all-stock deal. They are being purchased. I would double check that just to be sure when you're trading so you know what you're dealing with. Good look on that one, but I will get you back to this Oxy. We did reload in front of that 11 even. It's now looking like it wants to retest that 1060 bottom. So I'd like to see if we can't hold some shares through the low. If that busts, then maybe you can add on some pullbacks. But here comes that 1060. We got back in here a couple of times at that 1080 mark. Now we're looking to bust out for that low. So it's still Apple to the short side, Blackberry to the short side at 356. Macy's at 461 and Oxy at 1081. That all four in the money right now. Macy's, I want that 450 break. The longer it tests it without breaking, sometimes the better the flush is.
Yeah, Brandon, thanks for this. Amaran again, bringing this up to our attention here. And now Amaran now to 431. Everything is just rocking right now, guys. Disney, $1.20 in the money, now near highs. RCL, $1.50 in the money. I'm going to cancel this 29 bid here. This is $1.80 now in the money. So we're exploding that one over and over and over again, guys. Also to match with our Uber right now. Rob, we're going to put up our, there we go. We'll put up our position board here. We'll update this so you guys can see what we have. These are our positions right now, guys. Here it comes. Bang. There it is. Amaran long 426. Right now, that's only 4 cents in the money. The Disney, ho-hum, $1.40 in the money. RCL 163 and Uber 25 cents. 4 positions. 4 for 4. Quattro day. Let's go.
Quattro day, interesting one there. SGBX opens back up here, guys, and it continues to slide. It tried to test through that 7. If you can only play the long, I really think you have to see it make a very, very strong bottom before you even want to touch that with a 10-foot pull. You're talking about that 7 even break possibly, or a hard bottom made in support of that $5 area. Outside of that, I would not be playing this. I know you guys are asking about it, but this is the reason. We don't have locate, so I'm not going, if I can't short it, I'm not forcing the long when there's plenty of other things that are certainly moving and are going to be better plays. That QUMU that you mentioned there, Brendan, that's looking like it wants to make a move back to that $2 mark. So watch out for that 2 even level on a bit of a break. I'm going to jump back to Macy's, which we did take some shares out. And this is going to be the structure for me. As long as that 450 holds, I'm going to be shorting these little pops here into the 460-70 range, and then we're going to be getting a few shares out that we get added to the short in front of 450 while maintaining the core position, while maintaining the breakthrough at 450 at the bottom. We'll be able to scalp that range off. It's going to do plenty of volume, allowing you to do that with about 6 million shares already, but you got to capture that 450 break. Can't say that enough. That's going to be a key one. Oxy is holding down towards that low. It has not broken the low of the day yet. That could be a good place to add at 1060 as well. Even if you're already short, you can't be afraid, as the market does not make a move back to 2,500 just yet. Very, very tight range at the bottom. So tepid market right now, not giving me any reason to be out of any of these shorts that are all in the money.
No, yeah, everything. And I'm funny that Disney is still this $1 plus winner here. Still in the money now, holding up well, Disney today. So we'll find out about that, not sure why. But RCL, yeah, still multiple positions. Amaran, Disney, RCL, and Uber, the only ones we got, guys. Hit us up. Yeah, CEMI, yeah, let's go. I see that there, modern investors. Hopefully you liking the show. I know you do. CEMI, yeah, I don't know if this has been unblocked yet. We can try. I'll try with 100 shares here. No, it's still blocked. So unfortunately, we can't trade this, but the idea here would be, to me, always breaking this top 740. I'm not really interested unless that happens, so I'm going to check back on that if it does come through. But CEMI right now. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, SGBX, I guess that's a NASDAQ stock, 540. Again, not a bad break of 5, but we only go down to 480, so it's pretty calmed down for a minus 41% stock today. We did get as high as 620 down to 480, but right now a little jumbled up on the 1 minute, so I'm going to stay away from this one, my friend.
Yeah, the only thing about CMI that I kind of am thinking about was that you had that 740, 790 big levels. It's made a bit of a base here at that 660 off of a little, flush to 635, which is higher than the pre-market bottom. So it's not the worst idea in the world to think about like jumping into a long in front of it if you have the ability to do so, of course. Like Sean just mentioned, it's blocked for us, but I think we can still talk about the ideas on a name like that.
Let's go.
I want to jump back to CCL Carnival. Again, it keeps basing off of this low here, 1170 or so, bouncing over and over again, giving you some opportunities to get back in on any kind of a pullback. So I'm still looking for that 12 to 1230 area for my pullback trade on Carnival Cruise Line. But if it takes out this bottom, a third time might be a charm. That could be an interesting place to jump into the short. Otherwise, we're still working with Macy's, which now has 450 on the bid. So we did take that 460 short. We did add to it at 63 there. And now here comes 450. This is what we've been waiting for. There's the break. We just trigger our order. Do we get any shares? No, I get nothing. There we go. No, we got 45s we got slipped to. So
yeah, we got 44s.
Yeah, to go all the way to 445. That's actually pretty far. Brendan, what do you got for us?
Genworth Financial, guys, if you want to pull that up real quick, there's a huge offer here at 325. Looks like they're eating into it, but had some news yesterday about one of their recent transactions that was obviously negative. Huge move to the downside yesterday. We are trying to bounce, but GNW doing all kinds of volume today, guys.
Home run time right here. Amran straight to the north side here. You want to talk about a home run? We're long 426. So a nice little win. We've just been cashing it out here. So booyah on that one. Yeah, Macy's as well. We try to get that 450 and miss, but we are short here. 444. So right now, nice little winner for that one. We are 5 for 5 now. We said it was Quattro Day, but now we go 5 for 5. Amran, Disney, huge in the money. Macy's, whatever, 2 cents in the money right now. RCL making its days low right now. This is a $2 winner, so this floss is definitely happening right here. And Uber, guys, look where we're short. Uber, 26.42 right here, right off this VWAP, and we're still going downside. I do have an order to take out this 26 as well, so we'll get out of some of these shorts right now. What a monster winner today. All 5 positions, hugely in the money. Let's go. Well, Macy's, whatever, we're still hovering around that one. We're going to average into that one. We do like Macy's to the downside, guys.
I like Macy's looking at that 450 that was the holding the level. I do want to work back into it. We got some shares out there as it made a bottom at 440. But that's because we want to be adding back into this one on a pullback. This is a trend type play that we're expecting with the market holding to the downside here. We're going to see if we can't work into some more shares. Maybe add on the way up, started here in front of that 50, but you can't be afraid to look at that range that we're sitting in before the flush, that 450 to 460 area, and add in that price range as well. So that's what we're going to do over here in Macy's, continually jump back into this short position as we like this one as a big sell. It's down 8% on the session. We still, of course, have our Occidental. Don't want to get too far away from this one. It has not broken that 1060. I still want to try it if it wants to break that level. We are still short at 1081. We added a couple of times in there, and we like it in front of $11 even. So those are the positions we're working with, trying to aggressively add to this Macy's. Now it's at 452. I want this one up to 460.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing here. We're into Macy's now as well and liking it. So good job here. Hopefully this can hold. We are going to put our stops at the same area as Neil's talking about there, 460 and change. Okay, we've cashed in our Uber, man. It's breaking down through 26. What a great win that was. That was a clean 40 cents. So we basically take this one perfect. You couldn't get better there unless you shorted in the pre-market all the way up here. I'm pretty sure these are great little short prices. The open gets to 26.50, crashes back down. So we go perfect on that one. Our Macy's trade right now, we are short at 40.50. We've averaged in here at 52 off of this 44. So taking triple the amount of shares right here than we did down here. So our average is right here 450, waiting for this 460 to break. Hopefully it doesn't break. But right now, Disney, $1.50 in the money. RCL, breaking, guys, breaking. So we're bearish on this thing. Look at this trade on RCL, guys. This is 30.80 right here in the open, and we still have these shares. So this is a nice little $2 clean winner for us right now on RCL. Hope you guys have this one along with this 50-cent winner on Uber, guys.
Yeah, and watching here is Apple. It tries to test back to that 248. Now we're sliding back down. We have our structure for the trade on, so there's really not too much that we're worried about. We've got it's about $1.80 to $2 worth of a stop. And then, of course, you can see our first target down at that pre-market low. That's about 245 and change-ish. We did just reload some shares in Macy's. We're going to continue to do that as we mentioned to you guys. And then, of course, Oxy, it's basically the same story there. I want to continuously check back in because, semi is a good mover here, and it did break through that 7. It goes through that 740. Remember, 790 was the top when I looked at the daily chart. There was that secondary level, so watch out for that break. Again, just because we can't trade doesn't mean there aren't opportunities there. 7 break was good. We mentioned that in the pre-market, and now 790 approaching. You already would have made 10% if you took the first one.
Amran going crazy here, so we are trying to get out of a little bit of our shares, doing a lot of volume right now as it does get out to 38 there, and then we come back in to 30. So right now, Amran, we're long 26. We're going to get some more out at 35 if that one can come through. We did take a little bit out of our Macy's. Our average price right now, 51, as it looks like it wants to take out the top. We do have a decent amount of shares here, so this will be our first real loser on the day here if it does get above 60, which it looks like it's going to here. Macy's, not the stock that we thought would be moving to the top side on this kind of move. We're still down 7%, but I can't give this too much room. We're too dug in right now. But Uber, we have a nice little short once again here, shorting through 26 and ringing the registers all over the place now. Uber, great little trade, going short once again at 26. We did tick all the way down to the 90s there, guys.
I'm going to pop the confetti for Oxy. Going to get out of that trade. The last shares at 62, but this is the reason. Big buyer. I talked about wanting to take this one more short on a break of the low at 1060, but here's that level. No reason to hold through it. We can just get out in front of it, re-enter the trade when it breaks. You can't be afraid to short at lows, especially if you've already made money on the way down. So that's what we're going to do. This bid's actually growing on Occidental. You always want to make sure you're checking in to see what the price of oil is doing, and it's still down. That 2030. It's just 2030 over and over again. We keep bouncing around this level and can't get anywhere away from it on WTI. So we're going to track that one. Our Apple, look, it goes in the money 50 cents or so. It goes out of the money 50 cents or so. I've told you the structure of that trade. It's not that we're ignoring it. It's that when you have a stop all the way a couple of dollars away and a target for your first shares a couple of dollars away, you need a real market move to update that one. So for the time being, Apple, we got the structure of that short on, and we'll just work with it until it breaks one way or the other. Valeria, thank you very much. We just got our reload on coffee. I know what that means. That means it's already 10 o'clock. How time flies there, Sean.
Yeah, I need that reload as well. Thank you, Valeria, for that. And oh, here it comes. Oh, almost coming. Okay, I just want to give you guys an update on Disney here. 95.15 coming through. Oh, there she is. Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much. Okay, cheers to everybody out there having a coffee with us. Where's the camera? I don't know which one we're at there. Hey, cheers, guys. Okay, right now we are out of our Disney. That just does crack out, so what a great trade that was. So we'll floss that one off. Our Uber continues to go southbound here. 95.92 here. We are short 25.99. So yet again, another winner. Uber actually by net-wise, well, RCL still's got it, but Uber's what? Bang! Uber's one of my top stocks here. 25.80 right now. So we explode the money on this Uber short of $26, guys. Here we go to the south side. What a great look for Uber coming down right now. The only problem is Macy's for me. Everything else working out like a charm, but we are ready to go to Brendan now at the big screen.
Hey guys, 10 o'clock. Let's jump into some North American markets here. I mentioned that ISM manufacturing number just out, 49.1 versus 44.5 estimate, so a little better than expected there. Here we go, big time negativity right across the board as far as North America is concerned here. S&P 3.5%, we have the Dow about the same. Tech stocks ever so slightly better, 2.8% to about 3% throughout the morning for the NASDAQ. Russell is still in negative territory there as well. As far as Toronto stocks, not a lot going on as far as positivity, really. 2.7% to the downside for the TSX. Going to show you a couple of energy names in a second here that had big moves yesterday here on the TSX, moving again today to the upside. Down in Brazil, the Bovespa 3.6% in negative territory. Widespread selling, as we mentioned, once again to start the new month. CNQ, big move up yesterday. You can see kind of held these gains throughout the day. This is about 19. We closed at 19 to end yesterday. Tried to get above that level today. We actually got all the way up to 20. A bit of a pullback now. We're back below that 19 area, but watch CNQ showing a lot of relative strength again today. The other one, Suncor here, same story. Big move up yesterday, kind of held these gains throughout the session. 22 was a big time level of support yesterday throughout the afternoon. This one a little bit stronger. We're above 22, obviously, actually trying to hold 23 right now for SU as far as support. So some of the energy names moving around. If you like the smaller ones, this is Baytex, BTE, little penny stock doing all kinds of volume today. 33 at the top, about 30.5 at the bottom. But energy names, once again, guys, kind of offsetting what is otherwise pretty negative session here for the TSX. Rest of North America following suit. Big time red numbers. Guys, back over to you.
Big time red numbers, and we'll go catapult action, and that's for the Apple trade that we just mentioned to you. Just threw it in the chat there. First target for $2 on Apple. We talked about a structure like the 247 pivot. That's a trade you allow the opening range to get made. That gives you a solid out. Does it hold the pre-market top? It does. Once it does do that, you're looking southbound with an obvious stop. Now that I've taken the $2 off, I slide my stop to the next level, which is about 248 and change. So you can do a couple of things here. You can reload in front of it, maybe at that same 247 mark. If you think that the futures are still holding, below that 2,500, as long as we do that, I do like that opportunity. So Apple, add that now to the list. Of course, we've been in that short for a while, and the only stock which has gone against us, of course, is that Macy's. And I'm digging in. Initially, our out on Macy's was all the way at 470. Sorry, I don't necessarily like it as well. But remember, 465 was the level in the pre-market before it tested that top right at the open. It came back down. It held 465. We're now holding lower. So that's going to be the level for me, not the 470 from before. We will slide it down. We're aggressively getting out in front of 450. We took some out at the bottom at 440, and we're digging back into this position. And if we get back below 460, we'll probably load up on the way down with 465 as our stop. So Apple short, Blackberry short, which is disappointing me. I actually thought this would be another good one here, even retesting those bottoms. And we added a couple of times here in front of that 350 mark. We're short 354. We're in the money about 6 cents on the $3 stock, but we want this 330 mark. I can't see a good reason why we're not going to retest it when the market cannot get up. A name like Blackberry should test that low. We're looking for 20 pennies on this one. I think we got a good shot of getting it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there. Look, Blackberry, a good little name there. So is Amaran. So is Uber for us today. There's been a lot of great trades, including this Uber trade. And let's just call up Uber one more time. Uber.ny. We are going to be welcoming Kevin O'Leary coming through very, very shortly. Actually, what time is it actually right now?
25 minutes or so.
Yeah,
so
10,
get
10:05
close.
right now, so check out that. Uber right now, though, we go perfect on this one today. A couple different reloads up here right near VWAP. We reload before hitting this short, and then now a 26 break, and we're going to the downside right now. So nice little trade here on Uber as well. RCL, I just want to talk about that. We are almost out. If it does break, we didn't take the ultimate bottom, but we are going to get out if it breaks above here, 29.35. So you're going to see us get out of that one, and that'll be a $1.50 winner, no matter which way you count your chickens on that one. And we did get out of our Macy's. Again, we're invested a decent amount of shares, so we cannot afford to hold all the way to 65. So we're going to wait to see what happens here. And I do like a fade back down on Macy's here. If we do get below this VWAP here of 455, I'll be re-engaging in the short, but it's been quite an exciting day. Only one losing trade on so far, and that was Macy's. Everything else, cash money.
I'm going to flush the Blackberry down the toilet, not my phone. I still like it. A nice little Android phone we got there, but we get halfway towards our mark. Literally, as I say it, that it wasn't making the big move. We do get the first flush. We take a couple of legs off here. Only 40% of the position out, but I'm going to take some profit at 44 and 42. Of course, we work that short at 56 and 52, and then our rest we're going to get out probably in front of that bottom at 330, but we also want to add back to that position if it breaks the low of the day. I'm going to try to stay net short in Blackberry unless it gives me a reason to above that 365 area. I think I like it a lot, so we're going to stick with that trade. I'm going to update you guys on Apple. The reason why we picked that pre-market bottom to get some shares out is exactly this. It tests it right off of the open without breaking. It then on the way back down is going to test it again. You don't want to throw away profit. You take the $2 that it gives you, hold the core position. You might be able to add back in. That's fantastic if you do. If you don't, it just means that it's working even better for you. Right now I'm looking at this, this ES, and we cannot get out of about a 20 handle range on the ES. So make sure you're trading these active names. You can also look not just at our positions, but look at that ticker below. That's not every stock in the market. Those are just the names that we are watching that are most active today, whether they're gappers or have in-play news. This is what you want to do when the market hasn't necessarily picked a direction yet.
Yeah, smash that like button, hit subscribe, because the guests are going to keep on coming. And today we got some big ones. Carlos Moretta from Bear Bull Traders, Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, and if you don't know him, Google him, you'll find him. Kevin O'Leary, big-time investor in MindMed today. Let's check out MindMed. MMED right now on the TSX. Obviously a NEO-listed equity as well. Well, not as well. That is where it's listed. 1.3 million shares. Alex came today and told us how well this one's been doing volume-wise, and he is correct. 99% going through the NEO exchange. 1.3 million shares, so a decent one. Let's look at the daily range here. We had Kevin on and John Ron as well on the day, the CEO, as well as Josh Schmidt from NEO Exchange. When we IPO'd this stock, March 3rd, that's when the stock IPO'd, got as high as $1 a couple days later before fading into 28 cents. Now we hover around 70. Let's see what Kevin and whatnot have to say about MindMed today. We just did get out of our RCL there, so there's a $1.50 winner catapulting our nets. Guys, today, what a fantastic day this has been.
And as usual, you can always see the relative strength in a name like a Microsoft. Back above VWAP, it tends to be the first name on any kind of a bounce to get there. You're seeing the same thing again. Look at this potential breakout through not just 155.70, but also that opening range high, 156.25. So if you want to make sure that you have exposure in both directions, as Apple goes back to even on the second half of that trade, I am now looking at a softie at that 155.70, but also at that 156.25. However, it is 10-10. That means we need to get to some upgrades and downgrades, one of which I'm holding.
Yeah, guys, let's have a look at some upgrades and downgrades, another one of which the CEO happens to be on another channel talking about the stock right now. So this one right here, Dollar Tree, down 3% even with an upgrade today. So DLTR, JP Morgan, Papa John's doing well today. Vail Incorporated as well, all upgraded. The only one in positive territory here, Pizza, PZZA up about 0.4%, everything else in the red. Same story on the downside, obviously. There's Blackberry, 17%, American Airlines, Citigroup, Comcast, all to the downside. Let's have a look at this one here, PZZA, having a nice session again today, up about 3%. You can see a nice move higher yesterday. Seeing a lot of these type of charts. You had the move off the open, kind of consolidated, and then a little bit of a pop in the aftermarket there. But a nice move through 54 here for Pizza today, holding just below 55 at the moment. If you want to have a look at that one, relative strength coming into play big time. There's Blackberry, catching a downgrade after the earnings were kind of so-so, moving down towards 340 once again. It's been a bit of a choppy mess though. If we get above that 350 area or below 320, might get a trade. Otherwise, a bit muted. That's a look at some upgrades and downgrades today. Back over to you guys.
180.
I mean, yeah, you can call it a bit muted. It gave us that one flush, but taking some profit out there in the 40s allows us to do what? It allows you to reload. If you're going to have a stop area, if you have that 360 to 365 that you're working off of, certainly you can work in front of that as well. As again, we get the market trying to bounce it with 10 handles up on the ES, again trying to make that 2,500 mark. I'll break into a long trade. It'll be the first one, and it'll probably be in a Microsoft, although I was just looking at Zoom as well to see where that might be on a retracement. If we break that 2,500, I think there's a nice level that we mentioned on Softy, but I'm going to add to this position in Blackberry between that 55 and 60 mark that we like. And as I look over, Carnival approaching that 1150. So this one as well, making a bit of a base at the low end. If these levels fail back to the upside, you can get some nice breakout trades for the first time in the other direction. I mean, I don't think I've even had a long position yet today, but we are looking for a few in case we do break out at that 2,500 mark on the ES.
Yeah, I'm looking at, good look there. I'm looking for the same type of thing here. We did reload a little bit at 99 here on Uber, so look what happens. Reloaded! So there it is, guys. Hit the air horn, a nice little 10-cent winner on a reload here of Uber, protecting that 26, and now we crashed down to 89, 88. We just took this trade, guys. find our trades at the bottom. Watch what we're doing. You can make some money along with us, hopefully. And if you follow us, you have any questions, any of the positions we have, smash that like button. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, because we'll trade Chewy soon. Great little spot there to order your food from. Wow, Square down 4% today. 6% coming to the downside. But I'm going to get out of this Uber a little bit. It's a nice little 10-cent winner, and we just took it 2 seconds ago. So nice little win there. We'll see if it wants to break back above. I'm going to average into a short until we get back into 26.25-ish, guys.
Brendan, what do you got, buddy?
Another one moving on virus-related news, guys, or one in that group. APT, another move to the upside here today, about 17%. In fact, nice look through 13. This is $13 right here. That little high in the pre-market got taken out all the way up to about $14.80. Bit of a pullback, but APT moving higher as well, guys.
APT, Alpha Protect.
And the first test on that Microsoft, remember I gave you a couple of levels. There's the opening range top, which I kind of usually like that setup better at 156.25. It does not go. We try the break. It doesn't move. Immediately take off 80% of the position because I don't want to be sitting there in the full load when it hasn't taken out the bigger level that I'm looking for. So I will still continue to work this because I like it. And whenever Microsoft is the first to break above VWAP potentially, so I will try to add to it, maybe have a better position here in front of 155 and then work that side. But we still really are waiting for a recovery in the market through 2,500 on the ES, and then that secondary level of 156.25. That gives you a little bit more conviction. I will jump back and let you guys know that Apple, our second half, it sort of teeters on going back to flat each time. Hasn't really broken far past that 247 pivot-ish area that we gave to you guys in the pre-market. So still working for us in the money. We did take that first half out. That's what we have on right now. Macy's is holding below at 465. So right now it's relatively calm. But like I said, these futures, we're not going to hold a 20 handle range forever on the ES. When it breaks out, you do want to make sure you have exposure in either direction. I don't want to be sitting here only thinking about shorts. If we break up, I like this Microsoft long.
Yeah, Microsoft, that's my baby there. We're going to be all over that as well. I like that position. We'll see. Amaran right now, the high of the day, 440. We're still long right here, guys, 426. So nice little trade there as we play Street Fighter. If you like Street Fighter, put it in the chat there. And if you come to Toronto, maybe we can battle. But right now, Amaran, we're going to take some out here. If we get, there it is, bang, right there, takes some out at the high of the day. Amaran, we're still long 426. Nice little 15 penny winner on a $4 name. So we're going to take that as well. Uber still hovering around $25.99. Not much going on there. Macy's, we reversed to the long. We're long now $4.65. And, I know that was the kill spot for us.
That was the reverse for me, too. Yeah. You got 65. I got 67. That's a horrible reverse there for me. Slipped a couple of cents there. But again, liquidity can always be a concern. We did just tip to the upside. We haven't broken 2,500 yet. So I got a battle here. We do already have a stop in Apple. So the good news is we moved our stop down to 248 to make sure that we're positive on the stock no matter what. But we also added that Microsoft position. So we're long at 155.65. And as it moves up, we'll stop out at Apple, and I apologize for that wick, but you can see we'll stop out if it breaks at 248, but we'll hang on to our softy long. So you remain in your long position, hold your longs, cut off your shorts, blah, blah, blah. That's how you work sort of a hedged position. You had to find something to jump to the long side in. I didn't like Carnival through 1150, even though we mentioned it. It did bust through. The reason was you did have this consolidation here on the way down at 12. That's probably going to be a bit of resistance as well. So last ditch short could be right here in front of 12 even on this little bounce in Carnival. I'll try it one more time. And then after that, maybe we'll give up on the shorts.
Okay, right now Macy's 65, nice little long. We're trying to make back everything we lost, and it looks like we will. So nice little air horn right there as Macy's going straight to the top side. We reverse long 464 there. A great little look as Macy's continues to go to the top side. We're making back everything we lost. What's up, Brendan?
A little media company, guys, worth mentioning here. Trying to go positive. Just watching this TGNA. They announced some board members being shuffled around after the close yesterday, so down on the day, but trying to go positive here. Watch 1090 up to 11 was a decent level for TGNA yesterday, guys.
TGNA worth a look. Did not get that Carnival on this little slide here, but we do have that structure just around VWAP is 1190. You can use that. You can use 12 even. That's where the consolidation was. Tried to slip in some shares there in the 70s. Unable to get it. We'll go ahead and cancel that. We only want it in front of our stop. I do want to jump to, Sean's already covered Macy's. We both reversed long. He got 75. Great price. I got 67. We'll work that out in front of 480 for the time being. But Microsoft was the other long position. As we just take to 2,500 on the futures, and for me, remember, this level here, 156.25, and that's that opening range top, that's an add. for me. I'm not going to be taking off in front of it. We want to be adding to our position in Microsoft if we can break that and hopefully get a bigger move in the futures. Bust that 2,500. That's what we need.
Yeah, let's go Macy's right now. Never thought we'd be saying that one, but boom goes the dynamite. It's a disco fever in here today. We are now net up. We're higher than we were at any point today. A great little job for Macy's making this move upside. Amran's faded back a little bit, but our outs were pretty great up here at 442. Now fading back in. We only have 10% or less. Amran's still up that 8%, but Macy's to the moon right now. We just took some out 77. Let's see if this one can't keep going. Of course, they're going to be coming off of the S&P 500. I think it was April 6th, so look out for some market on close and balances that day. And if not at the open, we'll definitely look at that. Amran back to the top side right now, but Macy's, nice little move to 75 here, celebrating our 65 longs. That's how you do it, guys. Big cheer for the Macy's stockholders.
Yeah, and just having a quick look over here, somehow we're both in the money on the long in Microsoft and the short in Apple. Now, obviously, that's not likely to last, but it does show that you picked a sort of relative strength or have good levels that you're working off of, and that can work out for you. Still looking to add to this softy position at a 156.25 break. It's sort of teetering 156 even or so. We're long at 155.65, so it's been in the money the entire time. Once 2,500 breaks, I would expect to very quickly get triggered into the long for more shares in Microsoft, and then also get out and be stopped in the second half of that Apple short. So that's what we're working with right now. Macy's has not really gone to that 480. The next level would, of course, be the pre-market top if you're looking at 490, but that was very, very light volume. It's already broken through that range that it got to right at the open or right before the open at 470. It looks like you're probably going to want to base out in front of 460. That's going to be that key level on a retrace. Maybe you can add through that price. So that's what we're working with. We're long in softy. That's in the money. Apple's flat. We want to be adding to Microsoft and taking off Apple on the move to the upside. But it's already 10:20. That means two things. One, we're only 10 minutes from Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary, coming through to talk some mind mend, and also how the markets are going throughout the coronavirus lockdown all over the place. But it's also time for our small cap recap with Brendan.
Yeah, a number of these moving around in the pre-market this morning. We mentioned a few of them if you joined us at 9 o'clock. AYTU was one of the ones I was kind of concentrating on. 175 to about 180 we mentioned as definite resistance areas. If you go back out to yesterday and even out on the daily chart, you would find 180 specifically. Above that, however, you're looking at $2, maybe even $2.15 before you run into the next level. So this one set up pretty nicely in the pre-market. We had a big pop to the upside, held below 175. This is 180 up here, so held below 175, 180. Gave you all kinds of opportunity to work into a short. I had offers all the way up to 185. Never got filled, obviously, but nice flush to the downside here. This is 150 at the bottom, so a little, $1.80 stock giving you 30 cents worth of opportunity to the downside here. That's AYTU. The other one, Supercom. We talked about this one back on Monday, I believe it was. They had some technology that they introduced for tracking those who have been quarantined because of a positive COVID-19 test. Popping up again today to the upside, 125 and then 130 was the level on SP rather. CB, 5.5% still, but kind of grinding back to the downside. We're right at $1 here. It actually just broke $1 to the downside, so watch that. But obviously the better trade up here around 120. Just trying the short here, 105. See if we get a flush out to this 85 area that it was trading at yesterday. So both of these kind of muted moves today, but definite easy trades as far as structure is concerned. Moving back to the downside, guys. Let's look at some small caps. Back over to you.
Yeah, good look there, SPCB, one that I don't know why I haven't really looked at it too much, but SGBX, I know you guys are watching Modern Investors, good look. It is making a big move. It did base off that 5 even, but hey, look at that 7 even rejection. That's the level that, we've mentioned it a couple of times. It's got to break that to get some real juice to the upside, maybe retest those highs. Otherwise, that would be a short in front of it. And this is what we've been talking about. You pick out those key levels, and if you got the locates, you jump into those shorts. We still have that Apple and Microsoft. Microsoft in the money, 30 cents, 40 cents. Apple in the money on the short side, 10, 15 cents. So, we don't anticipate winning on both of these trades. We're going to break one way or the other. We're just going to hang on to whichever one the winner is going to be when it comes to those two names. I do also want to go back to Carnival Cruise. This did try to retest that 12 mark, but again, it does not quite get there, 1180. So getting a little too picky with this short. I feel like we'll have to be a little bit more aggressive if we want to jump back into this. Maybe use 1180 instead of 12 as an out and jump into some in the 1160 range. Otherwise, we might miss out on this flush if we test those lows again.
Yeah, April Fool's market today, fooling us. I thought we were going to be going downside, but of course we have a nice little Macy's to the long side. That's a beautiful winner for us so far today. I did want to also, there we go, Amran. Oh, I just got out. Oh man, I had too many shares up there. We get out of Amran ahead of that 450 level, and you can say whatever you want, but we're going to catapult ourselves right now. What a great trade that was, guys. Long 426, panicked a little bit and got out of about 20% or so when it didn't go initially. We've been wrong on some of these runners, so we had to get some out. But look at this, bang, 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 all the way up here, 440 rate. Amran, we lost a little bit of money on this one yesterday, but we make it all back and more today. So an alley-oop to Brendan, brought this to our attention. I completely forgot about it, so I'm glad, and I like to do that. It's a little bit of revenge trading, sure, why not? Yesterday it didn't move, today it does, and we cash in. That's what we were waiting for. The only position I have on right now, and we can throw to the position board if you want, Rob. We can go to camera 2 right here in a minute, and we'll throw it up. It's just Macy's. It's this long, guys, at $4.65. There it is showing up. You see, I have a bunch of different screens up here. The icon terminal, the trading station, and another little bit of charts over here. I look at about 7 or so different charts, different time frames, in case you guys were wondering. But for the show, we focus on the 1 minute chart, which right now, Macy's at the high of the day here, 478. We're still long 465, guys.
Yeah, good look there. The other level on Macy's to watch out for, and I'm going to continue to hold some of the reverse long. I got 67, unfortunately. That 91 level. So if it breaks 80, I think you hang on for an extra 5 to 10 cents, I think, on some of those shares. As we slide back down in the futures, and that means in the money on Apple, out of the money on Microsoft. So we test 2,500. We do not break it. The level I really liked on Microsoft was going to be if it took out that pre-market top, turn around on a dime. I said 156.25. That is literally the tick that we turned around on Softy. So, let's watch out here. The bottom of this move was 155.20. That's going to be our stop out. It's only risking about 45 cents. Again, you're giving it less room than the long that we really love, and that's going to be if it breaks through that top. Don't want to risk too much if we're not going to get follow through on this. We're going to hang on to that short in Apple. We're going to take off that trade in Softy if we break lower.
Oh man, we're gonna hail the Uber cab again. Hey, I'm over here, Uber, come pick me up. But unfortunately, Uber, we were short this name, 26.50, 26.40, all the way down, cash it in 26, then started cashing down here below 26. Unfortunately, with the future move up here, we did get out of some of our Uber. So a little bit of a crying situation for me, because we got out too many in the 90s, as Uber now back down to 25.82. You can see, unfortunately, like I mentioned, I thought we were breaking back above this $26 mark, so I got out. I did take some risk off of Uber, but now Uber continues to go to the downside. Check these futures, guys. We're not moving too much. Been relatively flat today. Considering the day, I thought new quarter, oil's been a little bit of a problem, down 1% today. I thought we would have a little bit of a hammer time in the S&P, but we're not. This little move back to 2,500 scared me. That's why we got out of Uber, but look where we turned, guys. 2,500 on the ES on the dime. Turned right around, down 12 handles from there, so that scared me a little bit. The only position I do have on now is this Macy's long, which you want to talk about structure, Neil. This was about as easy as it comes. We short down here and lose. We get hammered on the short. There's no doubt about that. It breaks 450 on the S&P 500 deletion coming on April 6th. But look what happens. As soon as it gets rid of all of this garbage here, we go long and we reverse to the long, and now we're cashing in much more than we lost on this initial short. Cashing in here on this long, up now 14 pennies. It doesn't seem like a lot, the 14 pennies, I get it, guys, but the idea is you can share size up. So you can put more risk, number of shares. So you have 1,000 shares, 14 pennies, it's still $150. So depending on what you're trading in your size, this is a nice little structured trade for Macy's. It's still a 10% move on this name, so let's go.
Yeah, definitely a good look there. And I did reload more aggressively on that Carnival Cruise. I tried to get something in the 1180. You couldn't pick anything up until the way back down, but we We did get some at 11.59. We'll take a little bit out there at 40 and then look to see if we get a secondary flush. I want to keep trying to trade this one to this trend. We've basically been shorting pops. Our initial trade was a breakdown through 12.50. It then retraced and we got to the short side. It broke through 12 even. It retraced and we added back into the short at 12.20, at 12.30. It flushed again. When it made a bottom at 11.20, we didn't get the first retracement. We take the second one. So again, we're scalping this one to the short side while maintaining that bias until the trend is gone, and we're going to continue to hang on to it. But we've been waiting very patiently, and we're very excited. It is time, finally, to throw to Brennan for our guest of the day, Mr. Kevin O'Leary.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks very much. Very happy to have our good friend, I think we can safely say now, our good friend Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, back on the show, chairman of O'Leary Financial Group. Really interesting times, obviously. Going to be good to get his opinion on how things are moving as far as the overall market is concerned. And we're going to touch a little bit on MindMed as well. A very stressful situation for everyone at this point. So we'll get an update on how things are progressing with MindMed. There he is, Kevin O'Leary, back with us. How are you today, sir?
Good to be here. Thank you very much.
Great to speak with you once again. We appreciate you doing this. I mean, unfortunately, under stressful, unprecedented, however you want to call it, situation and circumstances. I mean, it's tough to sit here when so many are struggling with this very, very serious virus and health concerns, and now on top of that, financial stress added as well with job loss. Kevin, what do you say to investors at this point? I mean, has this market digested enough information when it comes to this virus, or do we maybe see another test of the lows?
I think the way to look at it, obviously the loss of life is tragic and the health concerns are paramount all around the world. I mean, this is an extraordinary situation, but when you start to think about deploying capital as a fiduciary or investing on your own, here's some metrics worth thinking about. Volatility now, average vol since the last, call it 5 weeks almost now, is 4.9% a day. That's extraordinary. And we had that trading session and a half on a 13% move, also extraordinary. So we're going to learn two things from that. Right now, I would say the market is tied to something I'm calling the New York index. In other words, if you think we're going to get more bad news in the next 14 days in infection rates in New York City, the market will be very sloppy to the downside most of the time, or at least very sloppy, very hard to get a rally going until the New York question is resolved. And it's now global. New York you got to think of New York, Manhattan as a cruise ship. It's a really, really jammed together, very dense. You can't get off that cruise ship now, very hard to leave the state. So those cases are going to rise. Como is giving you the numbers daily. And that, I can see the correlation between the S&P and the Dow to the New York index. So I'm anticipating there'll be another opportunity to invest in further downside here if you want to start putting on positions for the long term. Now let's turn it around and say, okay, one of the best indexes to look at, and I spend all day doing this, is talk to some of the different manufacturing sectors in terms of when they're going to start gearing up. And right now, unofficially, you've got the automotive sector thinking about going back into production June 15th. Now, that's very optimistic in some ways, but it's enough time, hopefully, for New York to peak and then level off and then start to decline, and then tests come out and everything else. We have a new 5-minute test going into Portland today, and there's a lot of different moving parts, but here's the issue you got as an investor. I don't care if you're long or short, because if you get caught short in a 13% up day and you're on margin, that's very painful, and we saw that happen already. So if you really think we're going to get out of this mess in mid-June, every down day is a buying opportunity, because the returns over the next 18 months, 24 months are going to occur in 5 to 10 days. You're going to have 13% days. Most of the returns in rapid, violent recoveries occur in just a few trading sessions. And that is why you have to stay long. And it's painful, and it's miserable, and it's tough. And you have to put on positions and then watch them go down another 5%, 10%. But when that day turns, when the New York index goes flat, Katie, bar the doors. We're going to have one of the most violent up days you've ever seen on the indices.
It's interesting. Great point. Obviously, we see the president come out yesterday, give, not a very pleasant forecast for what could potentially happen over even the next, 14 to 21 days. How much of this move do you think we're seeing today to the downside again is in relation to that?
I think the market just stays sloppy. And the only news that's going to matter, and look, this is a personal opinion, but you go to any country and there's still cases increasing. I just spoke to some traders today in Geneva that are doing stressed fixed income. And, the Canton of Vaud, where Geneva is, has more cases. So it hasn't been contained anywhere yet. I mean, you could argue things are really good in Asia, and yeah, they've been better, but they've had it longer. We haven't seen Europe or North America get a containment story yet. And so I say sloppy markets, downside markets up to 4 to 5% down or up in any one day. And it's, if you're a trader, this is an interesting time because you're getting the vol you haven't had for 7 or 8 years. And so now you have to decide, how much do I go net long coming out of this thing? And that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how much do I put to work today? How much tomorrow? I'm thinking over the next 10 days, maybe I'll put in 5%, at least half my powder dry for the next 10%. That kind of thing, you're just layering in.
I have to ask you, Kevin, as we have the opportunity about small business owners in this situation, obviously under extreme pressure and extreme stress. Often, many of them wondering where next month's rent payment is going to come from. Obviously, the first of the month today, so a lot of them in that situation. You have the opportunity to work with a lot of these small business owners. We saw the CFIB here in Canada come out yesterday saying as many as 32% of these small businesses may never reopen. What has been your approach with some of these owners during this, extremely stressful situation?
Well, the small business loans are different in Canada and the United States, and I've got companies on both sides of the border, so we've been working closely. It got signed last Friday in the House, and we got the bill about 10 minutes later. I understand how it works in the U.S. We're filing on behalf of 50-plus companies, but we're not going to get any cash in 7 to 8 weeks. So here's the strategy small business ownership will put in place. First of all, do not pay your rent. Absolutely not. Just don't send the check. There's not a whole lot the REITs or the landlord can do about it. And I'm not saying, it's the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm saying if you want to survive, you have to do that. In the case of U.S. companies, you really can't cut employees if you want to get a forgivable loan. Canada's slightly different, but you stop paying suppliers. The last person you want to cut off is the employee, because you want to keep your DNA of your business intact, and you need those people when this thing turns around. But as an asset class, I've dumped all my REITs. Those are really going to be hurting. Real estate, commercial real estate, that's an asset class that's going to take a long time to recover. You want to get out of the REITs. Nobody's paying them. And anybody that calls me about, why aren't you paying us? I say, go pound sand. I mean, no one's paying you, let's face it. And the ones that are trying to litigate me, I'm saying, send me the complaint letter. I'll just post it to my 4 million followers on social media with your picture saying that you're kicking these Canadians or Americans out of a job. That seems to be working. And I know it's a bully pulpit, but I don't care. I'm trying to get these companies to survive. So suppliers, landowners, just don't pay them. And then you keep that business intact with your employees, and then you might be able to survive if you communicate directly with your customers. Some of our companies are doing very well in the sanitization business, or in cleansing fluids, or in home gyms, or in commercial kitchens for cupcakes. There our sales are up 40%, and we have to deliver directly to the customers because nobody's leaving. But it's tough out there, and I feel very sorry. Not every company is going to make it, but I'm a big advocate for small businesses, and I'll do anything I can to support them, including pushing back on large corporations that rent them stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time, to say the least, obviously, going forward over the next month or a few months, in fact. Let's shift gears here. Let's talk about MindMed. Obviously, this quarantine, even social distancing as a whole is going to have a negative toll, I feel, over time. Talk about, or give us an update maybe on some of the efforts MindMed has taken and is taking with, the medical testing of psychedelics in efforts to kind of improve mental health.
Big news out of MindMed this morning, pre-market. They've announced the acquisition of a series of trials, clinical trials, series 2 trials in Basel, Switzerland. It's significant because the birth of LSD is actually from there. That's where it was discovered or manufactured, if you want to call it that. And the science there is the most advanced in terms of research. And so MindMed now has on its balance sheet a whole bunch of clinical trials for anxiety. Talk about a solution. Right now it's Xanax, and that's for me, my personal opinion, that's a bad drug, because if you combine it with alcohol, you can have some fatal outcomes. It's terrible. But if microdosing LSD can solve for anxiety, we're going to have millions of people with tremendous anxiety for the next, 8, 10, 12. It could be a long, long time. What's happened here is people have a lot of angst, and we're looking for medicines that can solve without having horrific side effects. And that's why the whole psychedelics as medicine industry is emerging, of which MindMed is one company. I have chosen MindMed for my investment or portfolio for one singular reason. The board, shook my hand and said they will never be involved in anything to do with recreational psychedelics. I don't want anything to do with that. I want medicines only. I like what they're doing. I think they're one of the most successful in terms of bringing an IPO into the market here at a time when the markets have been roiled. They've stayed on message. Today's new announcement is huge. I mean, they've got a lot of opportunities here to bring medicines forward that have tremendous upside and are worth. And the way I like to look at this investment, I tell everybody to ask me about MindMed. It's binary. It's either a zero or it's huge. One of the two. Those are the only two outcomes, because if any of these medicines work, the markets are billions in size. And I'm willing to take a chance, and I've gone long, and I'm just waiting for the scientists there to bring forward these trials. Now we've brought all these phase 2 trials in Switzerland forward on LSD for anxiety. I'm excited about it.
It's an interesting time, obviously, in a very interesting space. You mentioned one already, but in the near term, are there any other kind of milestones maybe with MindMed or even in the space in general that you're kind of eyeing off in the future as potential to be significant?
Well, all of these companies are bringing forth medicines to trials to FDA approval. So in any case, when you're bringing a new molecule, you're bringing a new medicine, you want to watch the milestones of trials. The companies that are going to be successful here will be doing the announcements like MindMed did. They've just acquired a whole series of second phase. Now we've got to go to third phase. You want to be watching the news coming out of the companies and the scientists and the new molecules and the new trials and the new drugs they're bringing forth for the whole industry. And so you can't just sit on your laurels here. You have to bring forward trials, and you have to bring forward science, and you want to see what those results are. So that's the whole metric for this industry. And I think the stocks are going to be volatile based on the outcomes of these trials. But if any of these companies can bring forward a solution for opioid addiction, alcoholism, depression, anxiety, the outcomes are huge.
Don't want to take up too much of your time, Kevin. Going to bring in Sean here. He has another question for you.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for the advice on the watch last time. That was a great one, the Superman. They're the Seiko, great looking watch there. Were you able to talk to your dealer and pick one of those up?
As a matter of fact, let me just reach over here.
Oh my God, okay.
Did you say Seiko Superman?
Hey-o!
There it is.
Hey-o, let's hit the fireworks there. Kevin, there
Only
it is.
50, this is probably one of the best values in the watch market. Only 1,500 made worldwide. If you can get your hands on one of these, they're about $6,000 US.
Yep.
The value of this watch over the next 2 years is going to go through the roof. They had one 2 years ago called the Peacock.
Right.
And it's been a huge win. But let me tell you, this is a sweet timepiece.
I like it. I have
Beautiful.
a few Seikos myself, not one in that price range yet. I prefer the Breitling right now. I want to talk to you about another sector here. Thanks for your talk on MindMed there. But oil, I mean, here in Canada, obviously, continues to be a story. We have oil down today, 1.9%. I'll call up the chart here, guys, if you can put up the daily chart for oil right now. It's been just an utter collapse from January, Kevin, from $63 to where we are right now. Of course, West Texas here, $19.98. Looks like we're going to break $20 as we speak, now breaking that level, Kevin. What are your thoughts here? I know you're a big value guy. Have we moved away now? Is XOM and Suncor and some of these names out the window until we get some OPEC stability here? Do you have any opinions on this?
Well, I'll tell you how I'm playing oil, and because we're talking about our homeland Canada here, my disappointment in what's occurred. Obviously, I don't like to get into politics too much, but what's been done to Alberta is a travesty, because the actual trading price of a barrel of Alberta oil right now is $3 and change, and the metal in the barrel is worth more than the oil in it, and you can buy, a beer costs you more than a barrel of Alberta oil. And we did that to ourselves because we never built pipelines to the open market, only to the U.S. They don't need our oil anymore. They've made that abundantly clear. And we, never built to either coasts. So
Right.
we're still buying Saudi oil on the East Coast, and we're not delivering any oil to the Asians on the West Coast. That is, the words I would use is financial malfeasance.
Right.
That's financial malfeasance. That's incredibly poor management. That's weak leadership. That's everything bad you can possibly say, because I have never seen a situation like this. At a time when we should be able to get the incremental dollar for our oil, no matter what the price is, we can't. We're landlocked. And I think next time you go to the polls, without mentioning any politicians' names, you should really make them pay for a blunder like this. So there's not a lot of investment opportunity in Canada. Capital's moving away from the country. I've never in my whole life seen a situation or any jurisdiction where, when the economy is being being forced into a recession, effectively, you're shutting down the Canadian economy, that you would double the carbon tax. I mean, there are no words for that.
No,
There's no words for that. That is cruel, inhuman, insensitive. There is, to put that burden on a Canadian single mother.
It's ridiculous.
That's trying to raise 2 kids is insane. And I can't say enough how bad that is. Now, having said that, I'm like everybody else. There's no investment opportunity in Canada Energy anymore because the government hates the oil industry. That's clear. But here's the play. Right now, the single C credit, the junk debt, the bottom 18 of J&K is all going to zero. Those are all the leases on shale. So if you're a Chevron, you're an Exxon, and you've got a good balance sheet, you're just going to wait another 90 days, buy all those leases, and when this thing gets back out of this mess, they're going to be way better off. And I'm buying a little bit of Chevron and Exxon with the biggest balance sheets, because I know they're going to clean up on all the guys going to zero.
Yeah, we love Chevron and XOM here. Obviously you've said it here, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. You mentioned an approach to this market right now. As an investor, get in. You're 5% here, 10% there, and the answer might be no. Is there anything even in Canada right now in terms of a sector, or at least 1 or 2 plays that you think are worth making that type of investment? Of course, there's some solid names that we cover all the time in the U.S., but in terms of Canada, is there anything you even like for that play? Obviously, energy is a no-go.
Well, I think you've got companies like Shopify, which are Canadian, which are definitely in the bigger index of companies that are going to really flourish from what's happened around the world. But the risk you've got right now is the Canadian dollar. I mean, the country is so mismanaged from a fiscal point of view that dollar, I mean, look, this is just a personal opinion. Any investment you make in Canada, you got to hedge it, because the dollar could end up at 50 cents. The oil's going against you. There is no budget anymore. The government's printing money like a banshee. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, and taxing the economy on top of it. It's insanity. It's the worst I've ever seen it. You got real incompetency there. And so if you're going to make an investment in Canadian dollars, you got to hedge it. You got to hedge it, because you got the government that hates capital. It really does. It doesn't want capital. It's making sure that capital goes towards Canada, then just before it goes over the border, goes down to the United States. That's what's going on. We desperately need change at the time.
Kevin, I actually have a chart.
I'm deploring people in Canada. Look at yourself in the mirror, and when this election happens, anybody else is better. Anybody. You could bring in the NDP. I'd rather have them. I don't care. What we got now is a zero.
Kevin, you should consider running for politics, but just kidding about that. Look at the USD CAD right here, Kevin. This is what you're talking about. Up to 147, when we got in trouble there on March 18th. I agree with you totally. They had it steady for a while, lost complete control out west. Oil's a huge problem. Housing may be becoming a problem as well. As today, April 1st, the first time rent checks are due. I know you've already talked about that a little bit with Brendan and how that's going to affect the economy. But yeah, 142 right now. Not good for Canadian businesses. Thanks for bringing up Shopify. That's the name that I love here in Canada as well. Air Canada, not a bad bounce off the bottom, but I don't have...
There's some risk there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have too much faith in the airlines myself. But, thank you for going over some of these topics. It's been fantastic. And I know that a lot of our viewers and our traders also appreciate everything. I'm going to throw you back to Brendan.
Thanks, Kevin.
You got it. Thanks.
Great stuff. Kevin O'Leary joining us. Guys, always a pleasure. Kevin, we won't take up any more of your time. We'll keep an eye on MindMed. I just had a look at the daily chart. I mean, a really impressive move off of the lows, 2, 3, 4-day moves back to the upside, back above that IPO price. So good luck with MindMed. Always a pleasure, Kevin. Stay well.
Thank you.
There you go, guys. Kevin O'Leary joining us back once again on the show to talk a little bit about, MindMed and Canada. Although nothing political in that interview at all. But great stuff. We'll send it back over to the guys.
I want to quickly jump over. We just broke that 2,500 mark in the SPY there. So we got our second entry point in that Microsoft position, of course. It stops out the first half. We did hang on to the Apple short. That'll likely stop. I thought we'd do that before we broke 2,500. It hasn't actually stopped out yet, but we are in the long now. That break of 156.25, that was the opening range top. So long in Microsoft once again. That's working to the upside. I took off, Sean, I took off my Macy's in front of that 491 pre-market top. Last we got some at 87, 88. Then the rest we took on a trail at 480. So that long is done for me. But Softy is my only long position. A reversal in Blackberry, which will probably take off, however.
Good look there. And I was typing in the chat. And again, thanks to Kevin O'Leary there. We weren't able to talk about too much of our trades, but we're $1 plus in the money right now on Microsoft. Look at these pickups down here. 155.20, 155.40. We go now 156.40. So guys, it's $1 in the money right now as Microsoft making the upside move. Fading back down a little bit here, though, Neil. This is that 156.25 spot. I like to get a little long here if I could. My initial order missed on this move upside, so maybe we get some more shares right now, but we're long Microsoft 155.33. So yeah, 2 thumbs for this guy, because right now we've got a nice little dollar winner on this name. And Neil, I didn't get out of everything of Macy's. I got out of some of it up here at 86, but now it's been falling back down. I still have about 20% of my Macy's position, long 465. So
it's one of those weird plays. Despite the weakness and the bad name, you end up getting a bigger move on the breakdown. You can see the shorts here, the 460 shorts on the way in and then on the way back, and then a bigger, more extended and better move to the upside when it breaks. And again, that pre-market top. I'm not sure that I'm going to reload into the long position here. I think if it consolidates, I might even test a short off the high again now that I'm flat. But I can tell you, the odd thing about this Apple trade to the south side here is in that little bounce to 2,500 that triggered us in Microsoft, and we've managed to hold our lower stop end here on Apple. We moved our stop once we took $2 of profit on the short up to this 247.80 mark. And it's held. So, as far as Apple goes, we're probably going to get stopped out, but the relative weakness was certainly there, at least in reference to Microsoft and their overall market. But we're back above 2,500, not too much of a bounce off the bottom. We're only talking 30 handles ultimately in the ES. The NQ making its break up about 80 or so handles in the last, I don't know what you would call it, hour or so off this little open. So it's not a tremendous range yet. Maybe the April Fool's joke is that we're not moving that much after having such volatility all week, but that doesn't mean there aren't good moves individually. You've seen what a Macy's has done. That's been fantastic in both directions there, but also you've seen what Carnival and RCL have also done, and I've been working that short off of this 1170 area a couple of times here. We did get a flush to 1130. I was waiting down below that price for about 40 cents or so. Only took off maybe 30 cents on that move, but I'm staying net short until these cruise lines prove them wrong in the trend.
Yeah, I'll have to look back at RCL. And I just wanted to give a big thank you to Rob and Lucas for that interview and just for doing continued with a great job. We are short-staffed here, so I am going to give a fireworks for the production team that is here. Thank you so much for keeping us swimming and working, setting up new cameras everywhere, so that's been fantastic. Thank you so much, guys, for that. Checking out on Microsoft right now, 155.80 to the downside. That'll be my stops point. We'll take out 50 cents if we have to. I do like what you guys are saying on the chat there. Make Canada great again. Yes, as you guys know, I did talk a little bit there about running for politics with Kevin O'Leary. He's obviously very passionate about oil. I had no idea he was that passionate, but that's fantastic to get it on. And that's what makes good traders and good investors, honestly. You can see Neil and I, Brendan as well, very passionate about what we do. We have over 35 years combined trading experience. It may even be more than that, but we're trying to like not age ourselves here a little bit. So yeah, 35, 40 years of experience. We're trying to bring everything to you guys, including trading every single market. And right now, Microsoft's $1 in the money for me, and Macy's made it all back. We just got out some at 80 there. That's 480. So we have two positions alongside. Macy's 465, Microsoft 155.33. Smash that like, hit the subscribe. Come back tomorrow, guys. We're very excited for the guest we have lined up the whole week. Coronavirus, the markets are moving. This has been a fantastic couple months here to trade, and it's going to be even better, Neil. As you know, politics is going to be front and center very soon.
100%.
Did everybody forget we have an election, Neil?
Everyone has forgotten. I mean, it feels like people have forgotten, but that's still going to be coming in the U.S. But you know what? This day is still going to get better today, Sean. And in just about 28 minutes, we're going to have Carlos Moreta coming from Bear Bull Traders, so that'll be fantastic. But right now, you know what we got to do here. It's 10:50 past that. Brendan Wickens and Money Talks.
Hey guys, let's have a look at some of the currency markets today, see how things are shaping up as far as, a lot of these versus the US dollar are going to be in negative territory today. We did see a little bit of a bump back up in the USD. So we were talking about the CAD USD with Kevin there, down a full percent on the day. Obviously 70.3 now for one CAD versus the USD. So back to the downside. The euro also in negative territory, down about 1%, 109 and change. British pound hanging up pretty strong today, about 124 and change. Was above 124 and a half earlier, but back to the downside now. Swiss franc and Japanese yen, wanted to mention, also in negative territory. Turkish lira here holding up nicely, about 1% to the upside. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, really not a lot of movement over the past few sessions, even though equities have been moving around all over the place. 6,200 and change here, down 3% for Bitcoin. Ethereum following suit, down about 2% on the day. Overall, though, pretty muted. USD a little bit stronger, so everything else versus that going to be back in the red. That's a look at some currencies, guys. Back over to you.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Just looking at the futures here, back to that 76.50 here on the NQ, and we're still holding at 2,500. You're not seeing a lot of follow through, and that's why for me, you're going to see me in both those two positions, which I will update for you guys because we haven't done it in a while here. So let's throw it up here. We still have the second half of that Apple short when it broke 247, the 246.89. It's basically just sitting here back and forth, 50 cents in the money or out of the money. Microsoft, the breakout long, is basically flat as well. So we still have a little bit of Carnival Cruise on a reload at 1163. That's working down towards 1140. I'm holding that one for in front of the low of the day at 1121. And we've been basically shorting every pullback in Carnival and then scalping out of it while trying to maintain some kind of a core position in this. So we got long, we got short, looking for some kind of a direction. And if it's to the upside, it'll be Microsoft that we're running long. Otherwise, we're holding on to this Apple short. The structure we gave you in the pre-market, and it hasn't really broken either way. If the market doesn't move, we're going to get chopped out of this one, unfortunately. But so far, it's been pretty solid. We do look forward in about 25 minutes, as we mentioned, to our next guest. It'll be our third guest of the day. What a great day we've had. Carlos Moreta coming from Bear Bull Traders, Sean.
Yeah, how many guests do we have? And a great one, Alex from Neo, and then Kevin O'Leary, and now Carlos Moreta. Yeah, great job. Carlos, of course, very similar to us. So we'll talk all about trading with him and what they're doing over there at Bear Bull. Okay, Uber, this is, I was talking about that just before we had that interview and how I was a little bit upset that we did dump our Uber position, but look at this bottom here, 25.75, once, twice, three times, then again right now, sort of got there again, and now we bump back up to this little level. This is where we started the short, protecting 26.50. So on Uber, I do like this level as a short possibility. Look, if this market fades back, let's take and hammer this spot right here. 26.10 on Uber. That's when we'll be taking a ride on this one once again. 26.10 to the downside. We'll see if we can't capture a little bit of shares there and then elevate our position if we get down below 26.05. So we'll take a small little sample short, 26.10, then more at 26.05 and see what we can do. Just checking back on Microsoft, this was about $1.50 in the money. We now are getting ready to exit this position at 155.80. I do have a stop order in, and just for education, guys, we do more than just trade here. This is a stop order sell. So what we do now is we'll hopefully get that executed coming down through very shortly on Microsoft, and that's going to execute once the price is triggered 155.50, guys.
Yeah, just a quick look. I was actually looking at the futures 24.90. So I'm going to go manual on this trade because I want to see us really fail through that 2,500 before we take that long off. But I'm also looking at American Airlines. Just want to tip in here because it just broke back below VWAP here. Bit of a break at 11.15. So as we reject again, you start thinking about where you want to be short. And I'm already short in Apple and Carnival, and we're about to get stopped probably on Microsoft around this price area if it continues to follow through. But I want to add some exposure back into the short side as we continue to fail holding above 2,500. And that means for me, put some of these shorts back on. American Airlines going to add that to the list. It looks like we SSR that. Why I can't hit that bid on? Yeah, we are SSR, so we're going to have to get an uptick to be able to get into this short. So we'll sit here on the offer, hopefully getting in on American Airlines here at about 11.14.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing the trade of the day soon. It'll be Royal Caribbean. So we'll watch out. We'll put some more stop orders in to take that uber short if that does come out. Unfortunately, though, that's what happens when you have stop orders. You get out of Microsoft, and we only took a 30-penny winner there, or 40-penny winner on this little out rate here from this bottom 155.30. We get out 70, but the problem is it now bounces back up as these futures trying to figure out what they want to do. They get as high as 25.02 before, not a big fall, but down 10 handles from here, so we'll wait to see if that happens. I do like the Microsoft break. Before I get up, I just want to tell you guys 155.25, 155 even, something like that. I love trading Microsoft, and these are the levels that I'd be hammering if I was sitting here, but we are getting up to do trade of the day in just a couple minutes, guys.
Yeah, and here comes Carnival again, another leg to the downside. We still are short 11.63. You do see us scalping off a little bit here, for little 10, 20 cent wins on the way, but we are looking for that retest of the bottom, and that's going to be 11.21. We are sitting here just waiting to get up, maybe catch 30 to 35 pennies on a bigger win. It's been basically the same trade the entire way through, and they're just catching every single pop, and I'm not going to get away from it unless something really drastic happens either on this name or in the overall market. And on the latter, you're just not seeing it, and we're just bouncing around here. And this is why I'm going a manual stop over there in Microsoft. I'm trying not to get jiggled out of this long, because if it is going to be any kind of a recovery, this is the long that I want to make sure that I have on. So Softy, as long as we sit here in this 10 handle range or whatever it's going to be on the ES, we'll hang on to both the long and the short of Apple. We do have our level in that as well. Carnival's getting very, very close to giving us the win that we're looking for, and that's pretty much all we got on. Although we just jumped into American Airlines. That hasn't moved, just sitting at VWAP. Wanted exposure short side when 2,500 failed to break above. So we have 3 shorts, 1 long, only the Softy long is what we like. We're getting very, very close to our European update, and that's going to be with Valeria. And then from there, we did mention Sean is going to be doing the trade of the day, and of course, our third guest, Carlos Moreta, is going to be coming through from Bear Bull Traders. What a fantastic day it's been so far. No April Fools for you guys. If you've been tuning in expecting excitement, you've certainly gotten it today.
Yeah, that's to say the least on that one. It's been such an exciting day, and I'm super pleased with the way that interview wound up going down as well there. And we do have Carlos coming up, and we are going to be very, very shortly running over to Valeria as I look behind me to do the European update. Those markets are getting hammered, as well as us here in the U.S. and in Canada. Unfortunately, fortunately, I guess, oil does make that move back up over. And here's the oil chart here. I have RCL up, but here's right now West Texas up to 2040. Look at this. We break down below 20 there, 1995, before heading back to the north side. Oil, remember, closes at 2:30, so there's still a few hours left. Wondering what this is going to do. We're flat on the day, only up or down right now, 0.49, but that was scary breaking 20. I did think you did get some volume coming in through here. It was exciting to see what was going to happen there. A lot of volume picked up. Now we're back off. So watch out. Some of these names, Suncor, XOM, Chevron, Royal Dutch, whatever you want to talk about there. There are some of these oil names that are going to be in play today, especially if we retest the downside there on oil. But we are now ready at the board, and I'm going to find my Valeria Batman, because we haven't hit that yet today. Where is it? There it is. Here we go. Valeria at the big screen. Take it away.
Hey guys, welcome to the European update. Well, Europe is in 50 shades of red today. Let's take a look. Britain is down 3.06%. Germany is down 3.49%. France is down 3.93% and Russia is down 2.44%. Well, quick news from Europe. Russian Parliament has approved an antivirus set of laws, including up to 7 years in jail if you violate quarantine. Adidas earlier said that it won't pay a rent for its clothes stores across the globe, but today the company apologized and said that it will still pay for April. The rollout of 5G network in Europe certainly will be delayed due to coronavirus outbreak. That's all for now, and back to Brandon.
All right, yeah, 11 o'clock, guys. Let's jump into trade of the day. Pretty negative look there for Europe, unfortunately, right across the board. Big-time negative numbers. Also, welcome to trade of the day. This is a segment we do a little bit of a review session, go back over one of the trades either Neil or Sean took off of the open or throughout the morning at some point today. It's going to be, about Royal Caribbean, a group that has been just pounded over the past month or so, moving to the downside. RCL setting up a little bit better, looking a little relatively strong today. We've been seeing these kind of peaking back to the upside over the past couple of sessions. So Sean has trade of the day today. It's RCL. Let's go over to him.
Hey guys, yeah, I mean, we're here at the big board now doing RCL Royal Caribbean. Look, I don't have to talk about this sector too much with you guys. You know it if you've been watching the show. This is an easy trade for me to make today. We talked about it through the pre-market, and I want to thank some of you viewers as well for typing into the chat. This was not on one of our boards to begin with, so thank you so much for this. These cruise lines, I know Neil's been looking at CCL. That break of 12 was also cash money. We do not like to get into too many trades pre-market. However, the structure of this trade, and I know Neil talks about structure all the time, so here I am right now, but it just made a lot of sense. We did have this band here, and whenever I see little bands like this, consolidations happening, I like to go one way or the other. So I wasn't necessarily specific to the short. It's just you trade the action, you trade what comes in. When we first started talking about this about 9 o'clock, 9:10 or so on the show, I was looking to see if we were going to break out above this level, 31.50. If that was going to happen, then you would see an up arrow and we would have took this thing long. Or a simple break right now of I guess it was 30.80. As soon as 30.80, 30.85, this level broke, we were able to execute in and get in pre-market. Getting in pre-market for me hasn't worked out great because you do get these crazy moves in the first 1 or 2 minutes when people are putting those market on open orders into the imbalances. So you do get some crazy movements. Fortunately for me, this goes in my favor. Let's just hear sort of the reasoning behind getting in initially with our first entry clip. Preach here. I talked about getting RCL here short through 30.82. This could be a problem. We're going to see it just ticks down there. So right now we are short 30.82, exactly the price we said. You can check our trades at the bottom. There's only 2.5 minutes now until open, so I'm a little nervous. We're already 10 pennies in the money, but RCL right now to the short side 30.82. Now 12 pennies in the money and still coming down. But that's my one position right now, RCL. So let's go and hit a little arrow down action for Royal Caribbean today. We'll see what we can do on this one. As an out, I'm just probably going to use 31.82, something like that. This high, $32. Hold this one about $1 against us if we can, but we are right now in the money. As it's still going down, wow, it's printing 30.50. Quick 30 penny winner. I may take out a third right now, guys. Nothing wrong with taking 30 pennies in about 30 seconds. Let's go. Quick. Yeah, so we don't take 30 pennies, and thank God we did it because it continues to flush down. And this is what I'm talking about. Right before the market even opens up, you're seeing the big volume spike comes in right here. Brendan, on this big move down, that is the market on open order coming. This is a New York stock. The New York floor is closed, but they're still dealing with these orders as an orderly fashion. So you get a monster flush down. This is that level I was saying, oh my God, it went 30 pennies in the money. It actually prints all the way down to 30 before we open. So this never even comes close to going against me. I structured it up all the way up here to this tick, 31.82, just picking a random dollar there on that, but we never even have to worry about getting out as it just continues to flush down. Finally, a pre-market trade that just prints cash.
And worth mentioning, I think, or reiterating anyways, you see that really tight consolidation heading towards the open. Sean willing to take it either direction. In this case, we get really nice clean break to the downside, as I was mentioning, kind of showing a little bit of relative strength in the pre-market, but does end up reverting back to the downside. So a nice opportunity on the short side right off the bat this morning. Let's go to the next clip.
As RCL went down 80 cents in the money, so it printed $30 even. You can see that. We're sitting on the bid right now. Nice little winner already. Hit the slap shot early. We'll see. We're not out of it, so this could blow up. But right now, it's looking like a 60, 70 penny winner off the open, but we will wait to see that. Yep, so it's still not even open yet. What happens though as it does open, and you're going to see that hopefully in the next clip, it's like 30, 40 cents bid to ask there. So you see the very bottom, and again, I have to clean this up. We have multiple outs here. This is all in 1 minute. I take 5 different outs, but look where the outs are, and this is what I want to talk about when we talk about risk management, right? Some of these outs, guys, $30 even, that makes sense. I always take shares out ahead of even dollars or before them if I'm long. So that makes a lot of sense. Then you get a quick flush down, guys, all the way to $29.20, $29.25. So we take that out as well. Then we just start to layer them in between because again, the spread 20, 30, 40 cents can be, make a big difference depending on the amount of shares that you have. So we get them all out and then we sort of just chill for a bit and let this sort of trade settle down here before we go. Do we have 2 more clips, guys, or just 1 more? 2 more. Okay, so let's run the next one and see us get out, and then we'll see what Brendan has to say. Now the only one I have on is RCL. Nothing else really triggering. It hasn't been a crazy day at all, but here goes RCL, still below, I was going to say, still below 30, but look at the spread, guys. It's about, it can get about 15, 20 pennies going. So we still are short. $30.80 right now on RCL, looking for some more downward moves. Look at this price, $29.61 was my best out. So we're layered on the bid again. See if we can't get some more out. So that's $1.20, the best out there, $29.61. You do see it fade right back down here again to $29.30 or so is the best play. It's obviously ticking more to the negative side right now. The ultimate low though, man, $28.50 or so on the day. Check this out, 9.5%. If you're wondering, this stock will now be SSR because it must have ticked down more than 10% here. And what SSR means is that you cannot gather your short position off of the bid. So when you see a price that is maybe 01 by 02, you cannot hit that 01. You got to wait to get short at 02. So that may provide some more pressure to the downside here. But Brendan, this trade just makes a lot of sense. Thank God we're able to hold a little bit, and we'll talk about that on our next clip.
Yeah, let's talk about those outs on the way down there, Sean. Obviously, you're getting into the position all at once, but working out of shares as it works into your favor. Talk a little bit about how you're getting out of shares, maybe just layering orders passively into the book, not necessarily crossing and being aggressive to get out of shares.
Right, and that's a big advantage that we have. We do see a lot of questions there. Which platform are we using? We're trading through Day Trade the World, and we're using the P Pro 8 platform. And what that does allow us to do is pick our gateways. So a lot of these trades, those of you at home trading retail, you can grab this trade because this is a great one. Everybody can get short right here, but you may not be able to make 10 or 5 different outs. We are able to do that here. We can use gateways such as NEO that was on today. Obviously, this is a New York stock, so BATS or EdgeX or even NASDAQ. And what they do is provide a rebate. So yes, I do prefer to passively get out. And what that means is just set a price that is not a marketable price. It's a limit price, which means it'll sit at a specific spot. And right around here, this is that $30 level. So yes, when we rip back up here, and like I said, check out some of these wicks, guys. I mean, in 1 minute, you basically have 30.40, and this is 29.40. So this is $1 range in 1 minute, right? So you do have to get very specific. Every single time it ripped up here to 30.50, 30.25, I just put little bids here at 30.10, at 30.05, just making sure that if it does come screaming back down, as it's coming down, I sort of get run over and get filled, thus getting that rebate and not having to pay for the execution. So Brendan, that's exactly what I did. For my last 10%, I'm always trying to hold at least 10%. I'll try to do better for you later and maybe try to hold 25 or 30. But with these markets, crazy times, we never know where they're going to move. So I think 10% right now is good. Let's run the last clip and sort of try to figure out why I picked this out. As well. RCL, I just want to talk about that. We are almost out. If it does break, we didn't take the ultimate bottom, but we are going to get out if it breaks above here, 29.35. So you're going to see us get out of that one, and that'll be a $1.50 winner, no matter which way you count your chickens on that one. And yeah, count your chickens there. I should have hit the chicken button, but you can see here, this was the structure of the trade. It comes all the way down, bounces off 28.50. We could have taken the ultimate bottom. We didn't. We don't know, man. This thing could go to 27, 26. Who knows what's going to happen? So what I basically did was I noticed where this bottom was. That's that 29.35 level. And then kind of just, if you push this way, all the way across, obviously we don't get to see what happens next, but this was kind of a little bit of, I call it a little bit of garbage, but it's just back and forth. So if we do break back above here, that's 29.35. You see the trade go through there. We take that $1.50 or $1.30 win on that one. Very super happy. That's going to be my best out, is the one that I held. So sometimes it does pay off to hold that extra little bit, but you know, you do got to absorb some of this, guys. It does get a little bit dicey up here. The winning trade almost turns red, but you do not fear, because you still have the structure up here given to you in the pre-market, sort of showing you where that resistance is on the top side. RCL, your trade of the day. Watch out for this 10%, guys. Yeah,
an important point. I think, you know, when the stock's coming back towards your entry point, you have to kind of give it a little wiggle room, not have, you know, a clear line in the sand right at break even, because they may test it, you know, 2, 3, even 5 cents above where you got in, and then you get that nice flush back to the downside. So be willing to kind of give it a little wiggle room. But RCL, yeah, was setting up, you know, kind of strong in the pre-market, but gave you that nice tight consolidation, similar to some of those small caps that we look at in the pre-market. Kind of can play the break on either direction, in this case to the downside. Royal Caribbean, your trade of the day for Wednesday, guys. Let's go back to the guys.
And we'll go right from that into disco ball action. We talked about that Microsoft trade, which we held on to. We're still above 2,500, you know, sort of stalling out 10 handles higher. Again, the futures, you know, sort of slowing up a little bit. A positive to, or negative to positive story on this one will be at 157.71. That's yesterday's close. A couple of ways you can look at this trade. I mean, you can say a retracement of 2,500 is your stop. You can have a trailing stop at maybe a 157 even, something like that. We're long here, 156.32. Once we break through yesterday's closing price, at that point, I'm going to move an individual stock trail as well on Microsoft. Right now, I don't have a trail on. My stop for the second half of this position is basically back at break even at that 156 mark. So hanging on to this one, we did mention if we broke 25 and held above, Softy was one we wanted to hang on to that long. The only other position I have on is going to be American Airlines, one we worked into. Just our last short, it held VWAP here. You got an 11.15 to 11.25 range. We're short here at 17. If it breaks 25, you lose about 8 to 10 cents. It's our first trade in American, and we should have had this one off the open the same way we're looking at those cruise lines. It was almost as good shorting in the airlines, but not quite. But it's going to be our last shot here. I will take some out at the bottom of this range and trying to work this consolidation for some scalp trades, and then maybe a flush to 11 even. Otherwise, we're just going to leave our stop in with one long, one short. But now it is time to throw it over to Valeria at the big screen. I believe we have in focus.
Hey guys, some coronavirus related news. Walmart announced that it will start to take its employees' temperature before they coming to work. The company also said that it ordered more masks and gloves for the workers. CDC announced that it might start recommend people to cover their faces in public, though the health organization made it clear that people might cover face with self-made masks and their clothes, as health workers are really in need for surgical masks now. Nearly every Sony Pictures movie that was due to 2020 will be postponed until 2021. Also, all the movie theaters are closed in America for the next 2 months and maybe for longer. President of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, announced that he's not going to put Belarus for lockdown. The population of country is 9.5 million. Belarus president said that he's recommending to citizens to drink vodka, go to sauna, and come back to work. Well, that's all for today. Stay healthy and stay focused. Back to the traders.
Yes, well, staying healthy is definitely something that needs to be in focus every single day. Thank you, Valeria, for that one. But yeah, you can come back down and don't worry about the cameras there. Okay, BAC right now, we haven't talked any banks today, which is kind of a surprise. I did talk about BAC wanting to go long if we did break above this 2035. That hasn't happened. So right now I'm looking short. Why not? If we can break through right now, $20.04. Let's take BAC to the short side. It's broken once before and stopped at 20 even. So I'm wondering if I'm getting too aggressive here at $20.04. So we'll just take probably 2 or 3 risk units when normally this would be like a 5 for me right now. But we'll wait to see if it breaks down below $20. Then we'll add to that position. But I do like a 20.04 short. I'm not going to play in this range right now as we zoom forward here just to see. Too choppy for me now. 6-7 cents up and down. Nothing that I can make money on. So I do need a clean break here. And we'll try it, man. 20.04, 20. Actually, I guess the bottom is 20.05 here on BAC. So I'll take that short. This is a better one, breaking through $20. Obviously, you guys know that I love smashing through things, and we'll hammer it if we can get to $20. But for right now, BAC's on my watch, and I know Neil's talked about this as well, but Macy's is the only position I have on. It's faded back down now. I have less than 10% of the position on my big win. Was this long? We did take a hit on the short, but reverse long once we did break out of that 465 range. So right now, I've got a small position on Macy's right now, 465 to the long side.
Interestingly enough, we're doing our social distancing, so usually I'm right next to Sean. He mentions Macy's. He didn't know I actually was just looking at it as well. I got in front of that pre-market high of that long. I'm not calling it a revenge trade. But it's a revenge trade on the short. The long reversal was fantastic. But look at it hold this tight consolidation, 484, and then the bottom here was at 475 mark. Now, it is SSR, so we weren't able to hit that bid, but I'm going to maybe work into a short using this range. If it can then hold that 485, not going to give it to the high of the day. If it can hold that 45, I'm going to try and build a bit of a short position in front of it. So 475 to 480, we're shorting, then 485 is going to be our out. It's our second shot at the short. Of course, the long reversal was much, much better than that initial short break, unless you actually had it at the top wick of the open, which I really doubt anyone got that trade. It wouldn't have been a lot of shares available necessarily at the top end. So that's the structure we have in Macy's. Still have that long second half of Microsoft in the money, about 80 cents or so. We're hanging on to that one. And flat on our American Airlines short. Trouble getting into this Macy's. This SSR makes it tricky, so just tick down a couple of pennies. It's starting to work back in, and I can't pick anything up. That's a problem with the short sell restriction. You got to find creative ways to get into that short.
Yes, exactly. And I just noticed here we're going to be having a Zoom Town Hall Social tomorrow. So there we go. So a lot of our traders and company getting together over Zoom, and that makes me think, why not look at Zoom? So let's take a look quickly here at Zoom Media. What a fantastic stock this has been if you're able to hold it. Oh, okay, hold on a second. We'll go back into BAC. So we do take that BAC short right now. We just got triggered in. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. We take 04s on BAC. This is why I don't really like the stock too much, and why you can't take too many shares, because once 05 breaks, you get 04s, and then it just chills out here for a little bit. So I'm going to have to probably hold this one against me. Doesn't look like there was too much action to the downside when that level broke. So pretty sleepy right there. But we are ready for guest of the day, basically number 3. Alex from Neo, Kevin O'Leary, and now we'll throw it to Carlos from Bear Bull Trader, a good friend of ours, been on the show many times. Brendan, take it away.
All right, guys. Yeah, thank you. Very busy day, very busy show. Obviously, we're going to get to our good friend Carlos Moreta from Bear Bull Traders, get an update from him on how he's been approaching these markets. Obviously, crazy volatility over the past couple of weeks. We're kind of, back to somewhat normal as far as intraday moves go, although big move to the downside today. So if we could bring in Carlos, guys, that would be great. There he is. Hey, Carlos, how are you on this Wednesday?
Good. How are you guys today?
Busy, obviously. Great show so far. We've had a number of guests swinging by, including yourself. Let's jump right into the markets here. It's been, just a crazy volatile market over the past couple of weeks that we've seen. A little more orderly, I guess you could say, over the past couple of sessions. How have you guys been approaching things so far this week and maybe the end of last week as well?
Yeah, we're kind of seeing some less volatility over the last couple of days. We're not getting these crazy moves where stocks that usually do not move $1 or $2 are. We're doing that on a regular basis towards the downside, obviously with the drop we started getting. So things are kind of normalizing a little bit. Today we had a big drop, but we're starting to see stocks like CCL, which we've been trading almost every single day, AMD and Roku trading very nicely and being able to catch opportunities on those tickers.
Yeah, so I mean, individual names obviously going to be affected by. I mean, it's a very news-driven market at this point. A couple of those that you mentioned there in that kind of travel and leisure kind of space. We just had a look at RCL as well, CCL. How did you approach that one today?
Well, today we thought it was actually going to be strong. And before the pre-market had this huge spike up, that's what put it into our radar. So we had it as one of our top ones on our watch list. But then at the open, you saw the weakness came in. After the first 5 minutes, you had a good opening range breakdown. And a lot of us in the chat room took the opportunity to take a short today. So we took it all the way down to about 11.25. Once we came back to the BY, we thought it was pretty much extended. So a lot of us got out of that trade at that point.
It's been, a steady march the past couple of sessions to the upside when, you consider the overall market today, really the first big red day that we've seen in the past few. Mm-hmm. How much attention are you paying to the overall futures and direction of the market when you're looking at things that are moving in the pre-market?
Yeah, we are looking at that as well, but we're noticing that at the open, you're getting surprised on what's actually happening. We've seen the pre-market show strength, and then at the open, we're ending up red for the day. We've seen the opposite where we're showing weakness and we're ending up green. So you got to stay really flexible during this time because anything at the open, any news that comes out is triggering things one way or the other. Obviously, we had news yesterday with the president over here in the U.S. kind of informing some negative news. So you're kind of seeing that sentiment now that things could get a little bit worse before they start getting better with this coronavirus. So again, that's really affecting the way these stocks are trading in the overall market.
Speaking of, the coronavirus, there's been a whole bunch of individual symbols kind of throwing their hat into this ring when it comes to a vaccine or, the mask makers have been moving around. Saw that APT back to the upside again today. How have you guys been approaching trading, vaccine specific names or any of these stocks that are in this group?
Yeah, the one issue we see with these vaccine companies is that they move so wild. The moves can be very aggressive. And for the most part, you got that first move on the first and second day. The third day seems to just kind of die down and sell back down. So we're being very careful with those. They tend to be lower flow stocks, and we really focus between mid to large flow stocks. It's really our bread and butter when it comes to trading in our community.
And a great point. Obviously, you need the liquidity, you need the stability, to be able to put on any kind of size and take a trade. So very volatile also means, big opportunities as well in some of those names. But I mean, an interesting time. Definitely the market back to the downside today after, 2-3 days to the upside. Why don't you give us an update on your community on Bear Bull Traders? What do you have coming up in the next few weeks?
Actually, we've got several webinars coming up. As we know, we do a webinar every Wednesday. So today we're actually doing one with Stephen Goldstein. He's going to be talking about managing yourself in extreme market conditions for better trading performance. And this one is actually going to be live on YouTube. So if you guys go over to bearbulltraders.com, you can catch it today at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure to go on there, subscribe, and get the notification to be able to join that webinar. He's been around for several years. He's a great Twitter follow as well. So definitely join us for that. And actually, his presentation was going to be on a whole different topic. We scheduled him some time back. But after this thing has happened with the way the market's been, he completely changed the title to kind of fit in what the market is doing now with how to manage risk. That's going to be a very important thing for a lot of traders. as they're joining the markets that, again, some of these guys have never seen this type of market, myself included, where things can move so rapidly against you. So managing risk is going to be something that's going to be very important and a key thing for a lot of these traders.
Yeah, no, I mean, you raise a great point there. Why don't we touch on that a little bit here? Obviously, you know, we said over the past couple of days, we've kind of seen the volatility come back in a little bit and seen, you know, somewhat more orderly trading happening. How have you been dealing with the, you know, expanded ranges when it comes to risk management?
One of the things we've been doing, we tell our guys, if you're less experienced and you just got a year or so or less, and you're just starting out, you know, really reduce your size. I mean, you should be doing that regardless. But we tell our traders, think about the amount you're risking. So manage your number of shares based on the amount you need to risk. You know, you might not be able to take the same size you were taking before, where moves are a lot less smaller, a lot less volatile. In some cases, we've seen traders take some very good trades, but the pullback is so deep, even on a really good trade that ends up working out, that it stops them out because their size is too big. So that's one of the things we've been telling our traders, really mind your size. We're not in the same market condition we were a month or two ago. Yes, it has definitely died down quite a bit. We're seeing some more stuff, not as volatile or as aggressive in the price action. So you can kind of increase your size a bit, but you just want to be cautious because things like CCL today had a big drop, AMD today a huge pop. So things you're still getting some tickers that are kind of moving very aggressively sometimes throughout the day.
Carlos, I know you focus specifically on intraday setups and intraday type moves, not, you know, holding for 2 or 3 day kind of moves. But what I want to get to is if you are looking at a stock that maybe had a big move the prior session or 2 days ago, how much focus are you putting on those moves when it comes to trading a stock today, like a CCL?
Yeah, well, we look at a possible continuation happening today. So usually when you have such a big move like that, it is going to go up in our scanners as a possible gap down or gap up, you know, slightly based on that move from the day before. So today we expect some kind of continuation is going to be on people's radar. You're going to get a little higher volume like we did with CCL this morning. So we will consider that as a possible that's going to have a good continuation, great volume, and great opportunity to take either long to the short side, depending on what it did the day before.
If we do continue to see this volatility, you know, and the market overall moving back to the downside, anything specific you're looking at over the next couple of days that might pop up as being weak, giving us opportunities?
Nothing specific right now, but again, we've been just trading these stocks like CCL, the airlines. I mean, it seems like every morning the same company, the same tickers are the ones that are creating this range and volatility and opportunity. So if I look at my watch list over the last couple of days, it's the same 5 companies that keep coming up over and over again that we've been taking advantage of. If I look at my trading history, CCL is on there. I mean, I have traded stock probably more than any other stock I traded in my career of trading. So again, it seems the same company keep popping up that are giving us that great opportunity.
And hopefully, you know, we'll see these opportunities continue going forward in the near future. Anyways, Carlos Moreta from Bear Bull Traders. Why don't you give everyone your social media accounts again?
Yes, over at bearbulltraders.com, over our Twitter handle, and on YouTube, Bear Bull Traders as well. You can follow us there and keep up with our news and announcements.
Great stuff, Carlos. Thanks so much. We appreciate your time again. Stay well.
Take care.
There we go, guys. Carlos Moreta from Bear Bull Traders giving us his view and viewpoints as far as the market, where we are right now, some of the ideas and setups that they have been looking at over at Bear Bull Traders. Check out their website. Great website. Lots of good information. Let's go back over to the guys.
Right now is another travel back through 2,500 to the downside, and more importantly on Carnival. And I'm glad, Drew, that you stayed away there on the chat. You stayed away from going into the long. Carnival mentioned I got out of my short, but there was no way I was going long. You have to catch a bid, man. And we continue to flush down, try to catch an 11 break, missed it, didn't get it aggressively enough. So American's the only thing I'm short. Macy's is pulling back in, but couldn't catch that short. Chased it on the way back in. Microsoft, we had that 156.30. The first half we take the buck. The second half's going to stop us out. And again, you know, it was the only thing I liked to that long side, or the only thing I got in on the long side. For now, it hasn't stopped out, but this futures cannot bounce and sustain any kind of a move. So there you go. The second half is going to be out. You know, doesn't show the execution. There you go. Should show there we got out at 156. So you take a buck, you lose 30 cents on the way back in. I won't be done. You know, if there's a move to be had to the upside, I think I like the relative strength in the Microsoft. But at this point, It's where do you get back into Carnival or maybe RCL just as well. But AAL, the only thing I have short, that's in the money for us right now.
Yeah, guys, and I mean, the cash just keeps flowing over on this side as well because BAC, I gave you guys this one, and yeah, it's just a big face slapper right now. I hope you guys had this one. I don't know how much easier I can make it for you. BAC right here, we take another short at 20.09, and bang, 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 bang. So nice little short there. Cashing in, obviously, to the downside there is BAC. Uber, we took some shares short at 06 there. It went all the way down to 95 before coming right back up here. So we are looking at that, and we are now short as well. Microsoft off of this 80 break. So we'll see here if Microsoft can't continue to go downside. Microsoft's been my baby for a very long time, and we'll continue to see that right now as we go short, trying to capture a little bit of this move to the downside as the future's collapsing now. BAC 10 cents in the money, Uber 20 cents in the money, and Microsoft bouncing around. Let's see if this continue to go, guys.
Yeah, and we'll throw the disco ball along because there goes American Airlines as well. And we talked about, Carlos was mentioning, of course, the cruise lines, but also the airlines. Same thing every day. You can pick or choose. We've been mostly looking at American. It just looks like it's been the better trade, at least structure-wise for me. You're getting this rollover. It gives you this consolidation. You have a relatively weak name, consolidates around VWAP, gives you a clear range to build in between this 11.10 and then 11.25. We build in, get 11.17, basically right in the middle is our average price. And then as the futures fall off, this is the short that you want to have on. We're looking to retest that low. First stop will be right here out in front of 11 even. The next stop will be that low of the day, 10.82. If we can break 11, that's our next exit point. If we can get both those levels, we want to reload if we can in our same target range. That's the structure of the trade. It's worth keeping in mind here. As I look over at the ES, you got a 40 handle range basically since the open. We have not moved too much. However, if you stuck with some of the names that are on the watch list that have been moving and are more active, that's how you're going to be profitable. Otherwise, you're getting chopped around. I can't imagine it's been an easy day for a futures trader, but if you're over in the equities in the right names, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely no problem today. And we just keep getting these winners for you guys. BAC, we're still short at 08. This is making a little bit of a move back here on this futures bump. So we will continue to take some of this out. We have Macy's, Small, BAC, Uber, Microsoft right now. So 3 shorts, and we can call up our position board in a second. If you have that camera look there, Robbie, we will get that in 1 second here. We'll update it, and we'll throw it on the board. Here it comes right now for you guys. There it is. BAC short 20.08 right now. That's 8 pennies in the money. Microsoft ripping up, but we're going to average into that one, waiting for 156.50 to break. Uber and Macy's. So there you go. 4 positions on right now, all looking to be, flat or at the money as we speak. We were just bigger before this market move upside a little bit. We did break that 2,500, so look out below, in my opinion, guys.
Yeah, and what a break. I was mentioning it in the chat. We didn't actually get to this one, but MNK, look at this wall at 210. It gave you one flush about an hour or so ago off of 210, then does the same move. When this broke, you're trying to chase this one because you can't hit that bid. So chase it all the way down to 203. Makes a level there, then chase it on that break as well. The only way to get into this trade has been on pullbacks, unfortunately. So going to have to wait for a pullback. I'm basically hoping it does not take out this 197 bottom, makes any kind of a move up so that I can actually get into this bloody short. Mallinckrodt's been a good one, but what is giving us a chance to get back in that's worked for us is American Airlines. We had that target range around those teens. We took some profit out. Now we can add some back in our target range. In between that 11.10 and that 11.25, so we'll maintain the structure of that trade. American, we're able to get back in. Mallinckrodt, we're not going to give up. We still want to get any kind of a pullback to work into the short. Again, I feel more comfortable sitting in shorts as long as we hold the bottom end of this range, as opposed to digging into those longs, unless we hold above 25 in the ES. That's been the sticking point for me when it comes to the long side.
Yeah, we're right now, check out this position on this reload here. We reloaded Microsoft and averaged into our position at 156.20 right here. So we've got a nice little spot, a boom in here, 82, out in the 60s, back into an average spot, and bang, there it goes again, guys. pop a wheelie. I hope you guys are following some of the trades. Check the profits down below. You're seeing the profits that Neil and I are up to today. And for me, it's been big. I can hear Neil. I think he's been big as well. So yeah, a good day today. Needless to say, Microsoft now running down. Look at this trade, guys. Short, short, short again. And we average into this price. And now the winners are here. So you go back to the future and rewind. We've been hammering Microsoft the last couple days. This has been my favorite stock for a very long time. And here we go back to the downside. 40 plus penny winner now on Softy. We've got a decent amount of shares, so let's roll this thing. BAC also back down to 20.01 now. Let's see if we can't get some more out below 20. And yeah, look, it's 11.34 right now, so the market a little calm. We're going to get out of some of these shorts, put the money in our pocket, and see if we can hit some of these imbalances and trade near the end of the day today. Oh, it looks like there was yesterday some kind of rebalance. We were questioning if there was or not. We did find that article from CNBC, and we posted it up, at least I did, on Twitter, and there was a lot of money to be made there at the close yesterday. I hope you guys were paying attention to that. Just another one of those educational things that we like to drop to you guys.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Sean, it is 11:35 there. That means it's time for us to kick over to our European close with Valeria at the big screen.
Hey guys, well, yeah, European markets closed in the negative territory today. Let's take a closer look. Italy is down 2.35%. Spain is down 2.56%. Russia is down 2.63%. And Britain is down 3.17%. That's all for today. And back to you guys.
Thank you, Valeria. Just going to look at a name here that one of the guys in the chats here, Greg, has mentioned Tops a couple of times. It was a nice long off of the open on this one. If you didn't catch that, you got 23, anywhere from 23 to 25 on a break to 29. It's basically making a bit of a bottom at that same price here, 23 even. There's a bid down there. I think if you're going to be long, just be cautious. You're going to have a stop there. If that breaks, you're going to probably see it quickly move down to 20. So, you can size up. It's 50 million in volume, but that could be 10% very, very quickly if it breaks 23 even. So for me, not a long that I would necessarily jump into at this time, but you can certainly have a look. Another name that we're going to mention, because Brendan talked about this one, is Whiting, of course. Bankruptcy, halted, open back up. It's made a bit of a floor at about 33 cents here in penny stock territory. Let's watch to see if that works as a bit of a bottom. Sometimes you get these dead cat bounces maybe in the afternoon. Who knows? People gamble thinking they can get some value out of it. So if it makes a higher low here, maybe you take a shot at this one at around 34 to 35 cents. I think it's worth a look. I've got American Airlines on. This is a short that we're working with. I tried to get some Macy's. That one's SSR. Couldn't catch it on the way down. If you tried, hopefully you did get that. American, we just reloaded in front of VWAP and already starting to work back down in the money. So for me, I'm not going to move my stop too far, but from that 11.25, we'll move it to 11.20 as it looks like we're sliding down. If the trend continues, we want to make sure that we're sliding our stop along with it just so we can work the trend, scalp some out, hold a core position, try to work it to that low of the day so long as the futures hold a bottom here, Sean.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we're trying to do right now as well, and work this Microsoft trade. If you look here, we were long Microsoft out for decent profits, not as much as we should have. This wick really pissed me off right there because we shouldn't have got out there, but look what we missed. We missed a big move up just because we get wicked out there. But now we are short again into Microsoft, and I'm the same way here. As long as we can stay below this 2,500, I do like a short situation there. So we'll average into Microsoft if we can, and then get out somewhere around 150. 650 or so if that one's coming through. Everything right now though working for us nicely into the money. One of my favorite stocks coming to me recently has been Uber. We do love that one. I'm not going to hit the Uber thing again. We've hit it about. Oh, let's hit the coffee one. We haven't hit this one before, and we have these Trader TV mugs here as well. So mine's been through the wash a couple too many times there, but that's what it is. So pretty soon maybe you'll be able to pick up some of that merch. But yeah, no, we are excited. I'm excited for Uber, guys. It's been kind of an easy trade for me. I mean, there's a lot of executions, but I love pounding the short on this name. This was $14. If we check out a daily chart on this, I know we're probably going to talk about this in our wrap, but Uber fall from graces, man. $41 all the way to $14, now trying to figure itself out right here, but we will talk about this more in depth. Those are the positions I have on. BAC short, Macy's long, Microsoft short, and Uber short. So 4 names, 3 to the short side.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look at a name that Brendan mentioned a couple of times here. Certainly it was in play yesterday, VVUS. Watching it flush off of the open, down 57%, bounces off of $1.34, but it's now held 150. Look at this consolidation here. I think you're going to get a secondary move. What I'm going to do is basically bracket this one 161. If we break that to the upside, we're going long. 150 to the downside. If we break that, we're going short. So I almost don't care which direction it goes. Than 11 million shares. I think it's a break. Too much volatility on the session not to take advantage of it. So we'll throw that one in. We reloaded on American. We got to go over and monitor this position as we add back in the teens. And I always want to be taking a quarter off on the initial stage of that flush, wherever it happens to be. We're short 11.16. It just so happens to be 10 cents that will take off here, on the first quarter of it. We're still looking for it to break 11. Once it does that, we'll get some shares out in front of the low of the day. If the futures continue to hold the bottom, whether it's American or it's Carnival or whatever you like or prefer to the short side, leave yourself some exposure short so you can catch a flush through the bottom. So for me, it was Carnival before. Now it's going to be American Airlines. We're hanging into the short.
Yeah, timber on softy, guys. This is why I trade this stock. This is one of my favorite stocks. And here we go again, another 70 penny winner. We just take it off right there. Look at this, bang, 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 right here. Nice trading on Microsoft. Just continues to go down. We just get out there for another ho-hum 80-cent winner, 155.30 there off of this short, 156.20. So here we go, dollars in the money now. Oh yeah, and by the way, Uber, how you like that punch right there? Bang. You guys can take that one. 26.06 down into the 90s right now. That's just another winner. And bye-bye Microsoft, guys. Watch me trading this one daily if you can, because I definitely got a good read on this. I feel Microsoft coming to the downside here. See ya! This is another dollar winner. So we've had multiple dollars today on these stocks. Bank of America making the move down back through 20 even as well. This is how the story goes for me, guys. It's been a big day. It's been a big week. It's been a big month. Let's see if we can't continue this. Now, even more acceleration to the downside. But okay, BAC breaks through $20. I'll take it. Brendan with the wrap. Let's get going on this.
Hey guys, 20 minutes to go here before we get to lunchtime in the Eastern time zone. Let's have a look at North American markets first off. Still negative territory, although we are off the lows when it comes to the U.S. markets. Only about 3% now for the S&P, the Dow, and NASDAQ a little bit better off as well. TSX not so much, 3% to the downside, still under pressure. Brazil back to the upside slightly, 1.2%. Look at Bitcoin still having a negative day, down about 3% there. Gold at the bottom, the only one on that board in positive territory. Welcome to the wrap, guys. We're going to have a little bit of a review session now of the morning's trades. We'll touch on some of the names that we looked at in the pre-market. If you joined us at 9 o'clock, we mentioned a whole bunch of individual symbols, kind of moving around, talked about the news related to those, how we might approach trading those. First one I want to get to is Macy's this morning. We talked a little bit about how Macy's was being removed from the S&P 500, coming up on April 6th, going to be added to the S&P Small Cap 600 index and replaced on the 500 by Carrier Global, which is that UTX spinoff that we mentioned. Neil, you were involved with Macy's today. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I want to try to show you guys, both sides of this trade, because initially, like you said there, coming out of the S&P, you're talking about the short side, and that was the bias initially. And I thought to myself, you had a level immediately at 464, 465 that there was some selling, and then right before the open, what you're going to get here is a spike up to 470. Now, initially, our first thought was the 450 bottom on a break. But once I see that it tests, trying to get to the pre-market high, fails right at 9:30 and comes back in, I try to pick this one off on a bit of a slowdown on a retrace in the middle, working down towards that 450. So we start the short at 460, we add on a pullback here, and look, we don't take profit in front of 450 the first time because we're looking for a flush at that price. When it bounces the first time and we get the retracement and add back into this position, taking more. Now that you've doubled up, I do want to take some profit off in front of that 450 mark, knowing full well that I want to add to this position or get more on that 450 break. So you're sitting here scalping 10 to 12 cents aggressively. Then the flush happens. Here's where it gets tricky. Because when it broke 450, you couldn't get 449 or 448. You had to slip into shares, and I got all the way down at 445. It immediately looks like it's going to fail. Try to take some off at the bottom. We only get about 40-50% of our position out at that point, and then it immediately starts coming back up. And from there, I'm thinking, okay, same short structure. We're going to use that 50% retracement between the 50 and the 70, and that's going to be our re-entry point there with a 65 break. That second short was an abject failure. We'll flush ourselves down the toilet for that. However, as both Sean and I did, sometimes you can't beat them, join them. You got that reversal at 65, that's your out. Sometimes you've got to be able to take it long. A lot of people bet short on this one. The long makes your money back. It's your only shot probably to be profitable. You can sit there and cut off your short, limit the losses. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that as well. But if you don't reverse long, it goes all the way back up to that pre-market top here at 490. That was our out. My big regret was just now, of course, being unable to get this little retracement short. I kind of talked to you guys about this. It made a consolidation. I said I'd try it one more time shorting, but was unable. I was trying to hit the bid. You couldn't get anything. I chased it all the way down 10 pennies or so. At some point, you're not going to chase it any further, so I gave up after I couldn't get it all the way down to 470. It does look like it wants to continue to slide down. As the market looks weak, I do want to keep open the idea that I'm going to short it in this range off of that 490 high in around 480 if I can get it again. But the key story here was when it failed the bottom, get out, reverse long. You have to have a stop, otherwise you're going to get crushed.
All right, let's shift over to the banking group a little bit. We'll have a look at BAC here, gapping to the downside in the pre-market. Just had a look. We missed the sector watch today, guys. Just realized we were so busy with guests today, we missed the sector watch. But the banking group among the leaders to the downside today, kind of leading the market lower. Sean, you were involved in BAC. What did you see in that one?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's basically the same story that I always are doing here. BAC, we like to wait for key levels to break. Obviously, today we see big movements happening across the equity board, no matter where you're going. Like I have 90-cent winner right now in Microsoft. But we know BAC doesn't really trade the same as everything else. It's much more calm, in my opinion, anyways. Levels tend to mean something from what I can see here, anyways, including these tops, 2035. We didn't take anything like that. We were just too busy trading like crazy during this time. But what we did notice here was the market kind of fading off here of 2,500, and I apologize, there are some, this wick here is fooling up this chart, but we do take this break. I talked about this on the show. 2006 was going to be a break there. We did take it. It was only, I told you, about 2 or so risk units because we weren't 100% certain. Look at this, bouncing 2006, bounce up, bounce, bounce, bounce. So this third time here, or I guess fourth or fifth time, on the break of 2,500, I liked it a little bit better in the future. So we do average in at this VWAP. I did talk about getting out if it broke above 2020. That never happens. So what does happen, though, is because we have the risk on, and bye-bye, softy, we'll talk about that in a minute, but you can see able to cash in all the way down here. Each one of these is just a small out. We talk about trading retail, so it's in and out, back and forth on that one, and now it's cracking even lower to 90s. But check out this Microsoft trade, just went down $1.25 in the money. I was actually waiting at we just missed it. I was waiting at 154.50 there. We go down as low as 63. Guys, we're short Microsoft right now, 155.95 all the way up here. We only took a little bit out, so now we get to watch this one come to the downside. But to talk about your question there, BAC, I do like JPM as well. This is just more orderly. I could take a little bit more shares. You can see the destruction still happens. You still get out. Right now we're short $20.09. So a 12 penny winner is not too bad considering the range over the last hour is about 20 cents. So we're 12 pennies now into the money on this one. BAC continues to be a good play. JP Morgan I like even better. And now that we mention that, WFC was a stock that I should have shorted earlier on. We talk about that. It was on the imbalance locator. Look at this, a very, very similar level break right here happening about the same time, 11 o'clock, breaking this 26.75 and heading southbound. So WFC, another name you guys can look at. And we're so close to taking that $1.50 winner right now on Microsoft. Hopefully that can come through as the future is still fading down, Brandon.
Sean, I'll stay with you here. Let's talk about Uber a little bit. From a traditional sense, obviously, business dropping, everyone staying at home, not necessarily taking Ubers, but a little bit of a positive spin maybe when it comes to these services because of the food delivery angle. Lots of notes from analysts coming out this morning saying that the Uber food delivery service and all of the food delivery services, as we saw last week, going to be positive as long as this quarantine and social distancing are in place.
And that's the thing. I mean, I've been, just because of that exact reason there, I've been trying to get Uber short for the last couple of days. And then today, obviously, it's a great idea there. And it's also cash money because you're going to see here, we are still short, man. We shorted early, Brendan. And by early, I mean, like, I'm not trying to get into these things too early. But here we go. We shorted at about 9:41. It does go a bit against us. And this is what you call confidence, right? It's not about getting out. Like, I go short here, it goes 30 pennies against me, and I just take more. I mean, this is what we want to do. And then we get it back out here ahead of 26, and then the flush happens, man. Great little move down. We short more at 26. So not only do we believe in it, but we take more shares short. Come on, Microsoft, we're still waiting for that $1.50. Comes down here, 25.85. We short it again at 26. We leave it alone here during all those interviews. Then we come back and short 26.06 again, and now we're 20 pennies into the money on Uber. And yeah, you know what? This name just keeps going. We have a smile up for Uber because it's been a fantastic short for me for the last little while here. Yeah, I did want to talk about Microsoft quickly because I keep trying to cheer this thing down. Like I said, I'm sitting in the 50s. It's bounced off to 60s a couple times here, so I will put an order back into the 70s maybe, take this out for a $1.15 winner and see if we can't hold half of it to see if this flush is real back to the downside. That's Microsoft for you guys. Just another $1.50 winner.
All right, guys, another name we were looking at in the pre-market this morning was Apple. Apple had some rumors kind of floating around yesterday late in the day about their latest SE version of the iPhone coming out as early as April 15th. This entire group, though, the FANG group, kind of showed its hand early. I think it was down 1 to 3% right across the board in the pre-market this morning. Really hasn't done much as far as moving back to the upside or even trying to. Neil, you were involved in Apple. What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, I want to show you guys the chart here, but I'm going to have to clean this up just a little bit. So I'll talk you through. I had a 247 pivot area that was going to be the key price for me. And we talked about this one in the pre-market that I didn't want to necessarily jump into it too quickly because I wanted to open up. And when it's a pivot level, I want to see it test that level first. Once that happens, maybe we make a range and I have a bit of a stop. So I like that pivot. It moves to the upside first. We fail at about 248.75. We come back down. The futures are holding the low end of the range. So now I like the short. We engage that 247 short. Now we've got that structure. You got the top end for your stop. You're risking about $1.50 to $2. I want to take half off, so make $2 on the downside at the pre-market low. We get that first half out, so now you're playing with house money. You can't lose on the trade. When we sat in this one for quite some time looking for the secondary move. Now, when you have a bigger structured trade where you're looking for 2, 4 bigger winners, you need the market to go. Ultimately, we end up in a chop range, so we get stopped out when we move our stop down, and you only risk about $1 on the other half. So ultimately, it's going to be a winning trade. The downside is when you're looking for a bigger move, you could end up in a situation where the futures don't go. You sit here and what we have is about a 40 handle range all morning long. Most of it's been 20 or 30. And so you have to find other names to play, which are moving a bit more on a relative basis, whether that's Carnival or American or Uber or whatever it's going to be. You have to make sure you're exposed to some of those. The one thing we did do, however, is when there was a little bit of strength shown, we jumped into a bit of a hedge with some Microsoft for a long win when we did get stopped out on Apple there. So you are able to play both ways. The downside here was the volatility did not come into the market, so the bigger win never came.
All right, guys, let's shift over to a name we were looking at a little bit yesterday. We saw a huge move to the downside in the pre-market in Amarin yesterday, AMRN. Notice right off the bat this morning, this thing was kind of holding up a little bit stronger than the rest of the market, even breaking through some of these highs from the pre-market. Yeah, there we go. Above that 405 kind of high. Nice move to the upside. They had that court ruling yesterday that went against them when it comes to a generic version of one of their drugs. Sean, you caught this one to the long side.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been bigger, but this one phone went to the moon today a little bit. I wish I would have had it, Brendan, in that pre-market, or at least close enough to it, because I was loving that $4 yesterday, even level, and you can see once it broke, and this is just yesterday afternoon, chop, 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 chop. So I was hoping that we would break above here, 405. It didn't. So we come to today, and then you brought it to our attention. Like I said, a mistake. We should have looked at this a little bit earlier, but thanks for doing it anyways. Once it breaks through 425, guys, that's an awesome level for me. I love trading quarters, 50, 75, even dollars. We take it, and again, we take a decent amount of shares. So when it doesn't go, we have to wait. So let's see if I can zoom in for this one just a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. Here's that 425 take. I guess it's 426 we're long at. I was using down here as my out, so 410 was going to be my ultimate out. So really nothing to worry about. It never goes down that low. But we just started pairing some off in the 20s at that time before booming to the upside here. So we get out of about 20% down here. That's a little bit of a mistake. But again, pairing off some risk early on in the day before the explosion to the upside. And then look where it stops. And this is kind of why I wanted to bring this to Brendan's attention and to yours as sort of something to review. It stops dead on its tracks at 450, guys. That's, again, the reason we get in, 425, nothing else. Momentum to the upside, breaks 425. I love those quarters, and we get in. And then this is where it stops. And I said at the time, and it's too bad we don't have the clip, but I parked all of my orders, my shares up here, just ahead. I think this is 447, just ahead of that 450 area. I didn't even realize I did that. So when it spikes up, bang, we get out of everything. And thank God we did, because now it drops right back down. And if we extend this down here, 430. So it hasn't been a violent move today at all, but we're able to capture this. It's a profitable stock. Not sure what pennies there. So it's 85 cents in total that we took out. So although here we lose 5 or 6, every single one of these adds up to a nice little 85-cent profit on this one, including all of the trades. So Amran, good to always check trades from the day before, right? And that's one thing that as soon as I heard that name, went right over there. 35 million shares today cannot be avoided. Amran for the win for me today. Good little trade. The only negative stock I have is Macy's today, and even that is basically borderline. Amran, BAC, Disney, Microsoft, RCL, and Uber, all great ideas and nice little money makers today for us here on the show.
All right, Sean, let's maybe have a look at that Disney while we have a couple minutes to go here. Disney in negative territory on the day, obviously a name that's been affected over the past couple of weeks with the coronavirus, with resorts closing. Disney Plus, I mean, it kind of was a little underwhelming, I guess you could say. Back in negative territory today for Disney. What were you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I like Disney Plus, don't get me wrong. It's just, for me, it's not the game changer that maybe a lot of people thought it would be, but Disney's not getting hit because of Disney Plus. If anything, that's a positive for them. And we were just thinking earlier that, a lot of their movies are going to have to get released now straight to Disney Plus. So I actually think they're going to be jacking up that price. $6.99 US is way too cheap, in my opinion, if they're going to put blockbuster movies out on there for free. So you don't have to, who's going to be lining up going to some of these cinemas moving forward? But here we go. This one I probably had, guys, and it's a little bit of pie on the face here. So I don't know what to hit. Whatever, we still punched it out. But we did put a lot of risk into this one. That's what I'm saying. This was probably my largest risk position, $95, taking decent amount of shares here and just watching it rip straight to the top side here. We get out. Our initial position here long, 94.50. And again, there's that magical 50 level. I just like it. Futures were running. We broke out from 94.25. That would have been a better spot, but we wait for 94.50. We take it, and then ding, 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 all the way up. We take it out ahead of 95. So again, that's why it's a little bit of a misstep there, because we only take it out for 50 cents. Thank God we hold a little bit there for a $1 winner. So that's a good one, right? And so we smile for that and then hold our rest until it falls right back to that 95.25 level. So in all, Disney probably took out a couple dollars here, but this is why it's sad. It runs for me, guys, $3 in the money. The point that I'm trying to make here is, as long as you take some of it, looks like my initial positions, manage your risk. That's what we do on the show. These are just ideas. You know your own risk tolerance. This one I missed a $3 move, but I do like Disney bumping up against that $100 mark. Let's wait to see if it can break through 100. Right now it's just at 95.
All right, guys, a couple of minutes to go here before 12 o'clock. Let's have a look at what is coming up as far as earnings are concerned after market today and also before the open tomorrow before we get back to trading. Not a lot to look at here. Walgreens can sometimes maybe kind of sort of give you a trade on earnings, guys.
Can kind of, maybe, sort of, yeah. I mean, it might, absolutely. CarMax as well. For me, Sean mentioned something there about, Amaran. Don't get away from stocks on that second day. You get those levels that you had from the previous day before. You get some information when it's in play in that first day, and then you jump in on the second. I think we've seen that with Tops. We've seen that with Amaran. I'm not going to get away from Carnival and the airlines. It just feels like, Carlos said it here, and my best stock today is going to be Carnival Cruise at this point, and right now in a good AL short. It's just been an easy structured trade. You stick to what you know as earnings season wraps up, and you're looking to play volatility. Go with the names that you have the good read on, that you have quality levels, that risk reward makes sense to you, and that you've been profitable on. So that's my story. I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, my story will be the same as well. I do like Walgreens there. I love the big Dow names. You guys know that. Microsoft now another $1 in the money. Yeah, we'll just continue to trade the big caps for me. That's what I prefer. So Walgreens Boots Alliance, one of the big members of the Dow reporting. So we definitely have to look at that tomorrow. But Valeria, when she's ready, do you have what day it is today by any chance? Everybody knows.
I do, Sean, but first of all, guys, what a great day. Thank you for joining us, for all of your activity, your likes, comments, and questions. Well, today we had a great guest cast. We are trying to keep you entertained and show you different points of views. So please support us back, hit more likes, subscribe for our channel, and share the link with your friends. Also, guys, right after the end of this stream, hit the link. I sent it on the chat, and we'll continue to trade the noon heading into the close and talking about everything. Keep each other updated, and of course, you're more than welcome to ask questions if you need some advice while you're trading the noon. So, guys, today is the National April Fool Day. Are you going to joke at anyone today?
Well, I can't answer the question because you basically give it away. If you have a prank that you're playing on somebody, it needs to be a secret until you play that prank. So I'm not going to say anything there. I don't think you guys are going to give anything up. And if you're trying to prank me, good luck with that. I know our floor manager here, Greg, is much for the pranks. I'm sure he'll try a little bit of something. But I don't know. You guys going to give away any ideas that you might have?
No.
Didn't think so.
No, yeah, my kids will probably be working on something for me when I get home. So I like the saran wrap, when you're entering a door and you go face into a saran wrap. You can put it on a toilet as well. That's kind of gross.
I was going to say, there's also other applications for saran wrap.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And as long as no bucket of water falls on my head or something will be good. But right now, falling down is this market.
Yeah.
We continue to hold these shorts, man. Microsoft now almost $2 into the money. So that's a big timber for me here. We'll check out Microsoft before we go, guys. These are the shorts that I have on right now. 155.83 averaged into a 156.12 spot. We're down here, guys. 154.60. This is that crack level. So watch out right now. 15 cents on BAC, $1.50 on Microsoft, and 20 cents on Uber. So 3 shorts right here, guys.
Yeah, and there goes AL. We talked about that 11 break. You hold half of it through here for that test of the low. We've been talking about it. So you wanted exposure to the short side. We talked about why you should keep it on if the futures range held at the bottom. If we take out that low, you just want to make sure you got something on board still as we continue to flush. It's past 12 o'clock, guys. It's been an absolutely fantastic day. Big shout out to all 3 of our guests. Alex Bowles coming from Neo Exchange, talking a little bit about the changes that are going on in the market, of course, but also they had the listing of MindMed. And we had Kevin O'Leary. We want to thank him, can't thank him enough for coming through, talking about the overall market. So great learning experience there, how to navigate these crazy times. Talk a little politics as well here in Canada. And then, of course, Carlos Moreta from Variable Traders, good friend of the show. So it's been a fantastic one for the entire team here. Valeria, our chat maestra, Brendan Wickens, as always, at the big screen. Sean Katina, my good friend, doing our social distancing. There's the wave. Good morning. And myself, Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is TraderTV.live, and we will see you tomorrow.